Hello, everyone. Welp. Yeah. So, everybody's basically heard the news, and we're going to talk about it. Yeah? Let's take a deep breath first. I'm just going to smack my boom arm really quick. We're going to chill for a little bit here, okay? Try to collect ourselves. If you're in the chat, please hit the like button. I would like to get more people in here, as per usual. We need more people to hear the message because I have some things that I want to say to you today, and I want to make sure that that message gets out to as many people as possible. Hello, Gayfish. Thank you so much. In a box, your $60 donation before stream started. Thank you very much. I went ahead and added that to the total. We do today have... Why are you off center again? So today we are going to be... If you want to get to... What is it? $100 donations in donations today. I will open the box, and you'll find out what's in the mystery box. So we don't even have that far to go. But yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that. In a box says, I don't know what to do, so here's some money. Yeah. Like, what do any of us do? I guess is kind of the ultimate question, and I do want to address that point here today. Oh my God, hold on. Just a little bit of runny nose for a second there. Okay. If I'm not in the box, I'm going to be disappointed. Yeah, so let's just take a second to collect ourselves. We could very easily get to 69 likes and have a little moment of celebration before we get too far in here. We're talking about the election, obviously. I know the title of the stream is kind of generic, but I think that you all understand. It's like, welp. Shit. That's kind of the vibe. So, yeah. I know a lot of you in the chat are going to be very worried today, and I think that that's a very reasonable response. I'm going to try to... I'm going to tell you my perspective on what happened with the election and how it felt last night, and moving forward, what are we going to do next? You know? TBH, the anxiety before Pennsylvania was called was worse for me than after. I know we all understand that the Electoral College is a huge piece of garbage, but this is why. People always complain about the idea of the popular vote. And to be clear, we would have been... I don't know. If we had a popular vote system, I actually don't know that we would have been as bad off as we were last night. Because I feel like... I don't know, maybe people would feel less disenfranchised in red states if it weren't for the fact that we have the Electoral College. But people are always like, oh, if we used the popular vote, then, you know, a handful of states would decide the election for everybody because it would just be California and New York and whatever. And then we live in this situation now with the Electoral College where the entire country's fate is in the hands of, like, Pennsylvania and a couple of other states that kind of go whichever way. It's really frustrating, for sure. Oh, we're so close to hitting 50. 50 likes on the stream. Can you shout out my sister Heathern? Heathern? That's a really cool name. Heathern, you're awesome. Raina's Raider says, I was joking about leaving the country earlier, but honestly, Trump being elected makes me feel emboldened to be even more blatantly trans in defiance. I'm tired of half-assing my transition. Yeah, it kind of seems to me like we have two kind of responses that we're having as marginalized people, right? Oh, we have 69 viewers. Could get to 69 likes. Anyway, some people are feeling very disheartened, and, you know, I've seen people talking about potentially detransitioning or, you know, just feeling like they need to lie down and rot. And then I see other people who are like, I feel more galvanized. I feel more defiant. And it, you know, I don't think either of those answers is wrong necessarily. And I think that you do need to take an opportunity to let yourself feel your feelings. That's definitely important. Why in the YouTube chat says, a lot of my friends lost their right to live today. Something I want to be emphatically clear about, something I want to hammer in for you guys throughout this stream and moving forward. You have lost nothing at this time. I'm not even going to say yet because it's not guaranteed to come. We still have the filibuster. I think that it seems as though the House, didn't you say you weren't voting? I've never said I'm not voting. I don't know who you're talking about. I've never said I'm not voting. I think that at a certain point I said I was not willing to vote for Biden, but that doesn't mean I'm not voting. I did vote for Kamala Harris, and as predicted, I live in Kansas and made zero difference. But anyway, I want to be completely clear that you have lost nothing today. You've lost nothing last night. And we need to be careful about that going forward, because the problem with fascism, or one of the many problems with fascism, is that in anticipation of crackdowns, people give away their rights preemptively, you know? So I was even thinking of this morning when I first saw the results. I was like, well, they're kind of going to make it illegal to be trans, probably, if they can. So, like, should I start removing things from my channel about that? And I was like, no, that's giving away things rather than them being forced to take them from me, you know? So at this time, you have lost nothing. Honestly, I'm feeling serene today. Oh my gosh, thank you, Major Domo. I will acknowledge that in a second. I was in the middle of reading Gay Fesh's comment. I'm feeling serene today. There's something about having gone through Trump being elected before and just understanding I have to restructure my mental relationship to power. As much as I was speaking out in favor of leftist ideals, I think the last liberal part of me that hoped for an institutional save died, and that right there gives me more resolve to look toward alternate projects. I love that, and I really respect that. And I think that I hope that this is a wake-up call for a lot of people, that we were hoping that the institutions had our backs, that the institutions had the power to stave off something like Trump. Like, again, this is a 34 counts convicted felon who has openly stated that he plans on dismantling our democracy. And for some reason, he wasn't in fucking Guantanamo Bay. I know that's, I'm just saying, like, a high security prison situation where there is absolutely no chance of him getting out. You know what I mean? Thank you, Major Domo, for your $50 donation on Super Chat. That is extremely generous. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Especially right now, because listen, your boy is trans, and I live in fucking Kansas, and I'm moving to the Pacific Northwest. I still have my GoFundMe open, but any donation is welcome, whether it's through the website or through Patreon or Super Chats, or if you want to join the memberships, those are open on YouTube now, or if you want to donate to the GoFundMe. And to be clear, when I get to where I'm moving to, I'm going to do my best to pay that forward as much as possible. A ton of my friends are talking about moving, and I want to potentially help move things in that direction. So, okay. So, but for a fun moment, we're going to have a brief fun moment, okay? And then we'll continue. We have 84 viewers. We hit the goal. We hit the initial goal for today. We will have a stretch goal for the box, but okay. You want to know what's in the box? I have a chest over here, and it has stuff in it to reveal to you. And then we will continue talking about the horrendous truth of the world, okay? So here's the box. It's got a little latch. Oh my goodness, what's in there? Oh, well, first of all, there is a second box. Oh no, but that's not what the reveal is actually. The reveal is actually a tiny mug. Whoa, that was kind of scary. It's a tiny mug. Look at it. It's so cute. It's so cute. This is basically my shot glass. Hey, so now there's a stretch goal. If we get to, what did I decide? If we get to 300 today, I will open the second box. So I just wanted to display that over there. Now you know there's a second box. What? Okay, anyway, moving on. We're going to be serious. Will living in Oregon be enough if the representatives, if the Republicans have House, Senate, President, Supreme Court? So, yes, absolutely, Riffs No Leads, thank you. My idea has always been that living in a blue state is probably safer than trying to go to another country. First of all, I still don't have a passport. I need to get a passport. The logistics of moving across the country are kind of monumental. And so, but, you know, I'll be living in the Pacific Northwest, so it will be easy for me to then move to Canada if that becomes necessary, right? The whole immigration process, all of that takes much longer. No one has to approve me being present in the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah, I feel like this box is a lot less visible than I thought it was going to be. I want it to be here as a tease for you guys, but it doesn't work if you can't see it very well. Just the contrast is it's a little bit too dark over there. Anyway, so my personal opinion has always been that if you are in a blue state, we have access to healthcare. There are sanctuary state laws. There is a chance that, I think there's a pretty good chance that if federal things start to pass, like, okay, you guys know how cannabis is illegal at the federal level, but the states are still doing it. And sometimes you'll have a DEA crackdown where the federal level like comes in, but I doubt that that's going to be the case. I think that basically if you live in a blue state, there is some amount of assurance. And even if the federal government tries to step in and do something, like they would have to send the National Guard in. And I'm moving to, like, I think Washington and Oregon are both good for this. There are lots of queer people there. There are lots of liberals there. And there's lots of gun owners there. So it's like, are you going to invade blue states and have another civil war? Because that's what you would have to do if you were at the federal level and you decided that you're going to persecute trans people in those states. You're going to be dealing with communities that are prepared to resist you. So, in my personal opinion, I think living in a blue state is safer than trying to move to another country. Like, in other countries, if they have a national health service, they can just decide that you're not going to get coverage for trans care. They're just going to not provide you trans care or whatever else. And many other countries are also having these right-wing takeovers. So Trump has literally talked about sending in the military. Yeah, well, I understand that he has said many things. The question is then, is the military going to respond? Because Trump tried to direct the military to do things on January 6th. And the military was like, no. You know, he doesn't have unilateral power if the head generals in the military say no. And then you have any National Guard stationed in any part of the country that could potentially resist. I'm in Texas. Should I get out? Sorry, my eye just twitched right in the middle of that. Yes. I think that if you are in a red state, you should get out. I think, obviously, the downside of that is that we are confirming that these red states are going to stay red. But, I mean, I live in Kansas, and we have several very liberal areas, you know? Johnson County, Douglas County. Like, we have several very liberal areas, and yet all of this rural areas, like, they get outmatched. He's gonna fire the generals. I don't know how that works exactly, but, you know, it's not just the generals, it's like everybody in that chain of command. So I'm not saying that it's going to be perfectly safe, but I am saying that, like, I think that of the many unsafe options, that living in a blue state is probably the safest of the options. Michigan is blue state-wise, but red nationally. Yeah, it's super weird. And we've seen that all over the country right now, that Kansas voted in favor of abortion rights, and Florida almost voted in favor of abortion rights, but they made it a 60%, so it's obviously fell short on that. Missouri just voted in favor of abortion rights, and yet all three of these states went red. 69 likes. We love to see it. So I think what we're learning from that is that progressive policies are a winning issue. Like, progressive policies are what people want. However, I think the Democratic Party has failed to make itself associated with that, you know? Like, that's one of the biggest issues that I've had with Kamala's campaign, is that she didn't seem to run on progressive politics. Like, she tried to cozy up to Republicans, and I saw some graphs that were indicating that so of the Republicans who voted, what percentage of them voted Republican and which percentage of them voted Democrat? 94% of Republicans voted Republican, 5% voted Democrat last time, and this time 4% of Republicans voted for the Democrat. So it seems like she was trying her best to court Republicans and failed fucking miserably. And I'm not pinning this on Kamala herself directly necessarily, because obviously she has an entire campaign strategy thing going on that, and to be clear, like, obviously some of this is too little too late. You know, we can't go back and change what happened, but we're kind of doing a little bit of a retrospective on what went wrong. And honestly, there is some kind of desperation, I think, in looking at what went wrong, because what went wrong is also kind of a way of us asking, what could we have done differently, or what could we do differently next time, you know? Yeah, Ohio is rough. I'm in New York City and have some queer friends planning to move back to Texas where they're from because cost of living and it's so tough. I have a couple of trans friends who just moved from Kansas to Utah because they were housing insecure and had to move back in with their parents. And now those people are thinking about moving up to the area where I'm moving to. And yeah, like, I think that's a wise move. I think the more of us there are concentrated in one area, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to raid our homes? How are they going to raid our homes if we all have guns? Like, if we have robust security systems, if we have people informing for us and, like, giving us a heads up on these things, is there a next time? Will there be a next time? Just because someone states their intent doesn't mean that that thing is going to happen. So this is another one of those things that I really need everybody to understand, is that just because Trump says he wants to do something doesn't mean he's going to be able to do it. In fact, this is true of every single time we have a presidential candidate campaigning, and then we get to the place where, like, they're in power. Okay, are they doing the thing they said they were going to do? Is there going to be some bureaucratic excuse for not doing it? Do they actually have the support to do it? Like, do we think that the Republicans in Congress are going to just vote the way that Trump wants them to, even if the thing that he's trying to do is put people in camps? You know what I mean? Like, could there be such a thing as, like, Republicans not committing fully to everything he does? Can we guarantee that he's going to get his stuff to pass? No, we can't. Are you worried about mass migration of queer folks making the next election worse? I don't think so. I mean, how could the next election be worse is kind of a question. Like, how could it be worse? If anything, I'm concerned about places like Oregon because there is such a huge rural area there. And I know, I've seen it. I'm in all kinds of groups online talking about moving to these parts of the country. And there are people who are like, oh, you know, we've lived in California for a while, but I'm tired of all these California policies, so we're moving up to Oregon. And I'm like, fuck. Like, no. Get out of there. You should act assuming there won't be a next election. I mean, that's kind of basically, okay, so I'm going to tell you where I'm at right here, right now. I'm going to kind of convey to you my perspective on the right now. We can keep talking about what happened last night and what's going to happen in the future. I feel a lot more calm than I expected to. I have cried a little bit, but the things that have made me feel emotional are like the message that I sent in Discord this morning, which, if you're not a member of the Discord, you can get notifications when I upload and when I'm about to stream. The videos that I upload on the channel are not going to be about politics like this anymore. This is a stream-only conversation. The videos that I upload to the channel are going to be more like, we're going to have fun with media analysis type stuff, or we're going to talk about politics in a more structured manner that's not just like my live reaction to the latest thing. But the Discord message that I sent this morning, the thing that really got me about it was the message of hope that, like, as I was mulling it over, like, this is where I'm at. Yes, if you want to join the Discord, there's, if you're in YouTube, there's a link in the description. If you're on the website, there's a link up here in the top corner. We need to make a plan, stick to that plan, commit to that plan, and that plan needs to protect us regardless of what happens next. So that's part of why I'm feeling so calm, is because nothing changes for me today. I made my plan of, I'm going to move to another part of the country where I believe I will be safer, where I believe I will be able to buy some land away from other people and, like, have security, have food, all those things. And that plan was like, because either Trump is going to win and he's going to legally enact a bunch of really messed up changes, or Kamala is going to win and there will be a right-wing sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be really pissed off and potentially lash out. That was kind of my expectation. So my plan to move to the Pacific Northwest was, regardless of who wins, things are going to be bad. Regardless of who wins, we are not going to get on climate change. Like, we're going to have disasters, and the economy is going to collapse in the next 20 years, the next 15 years or so, based on current projections, which we are on track for. Like, so my perspective is, make the plan. Yeah, backlash is the word that I was looking for. Make the plan and commit to it. You can't assume that there's going to be another election because Trump has said that he wants to dismantle that process. Now, there's no guarantee that he will do that, but there's also no guarantee that he won't. And these national elections, like, it seems as though we, the people, do not really have a lot of power to change that. Voter disenfranchisement. I know somebody in the YouTube chat earlier said that in Pennsylvania there was a lot of voter suppression. I would have to scroll up and see who said it, but we're going to be dealing with this for a while, and things are going to get worse. Again, it didn't matter who won. Things were going to get worse either way. It's just the speed at which they were going to get worse. So right now we're in the timeline where things get worse faster, but things were going to get worse regardless. So my position here is, we need to remain calm. We need to take a breath. We need to take care of ourselves in the immediate sense. Like, if you need to grieve for a couple days, I think that's reasonable. And then I think you need to dust yourself off by like Monday and be ready to like start making those bigger plans, moving to somewhere safer, establishing community, taking a Stop the Bleed course, taking a like martial arts class and familiarizing yourself with a weapon and like making sure you're practiced with that weapon. I'm sitting here like, oh, I need to start going to the gun range like 2 days a week. I need to make sure I have a lot of practice with this and that I'm prepared at any given moment. And that's the interpersonal, right? I think it's easy for us to feel so overwhelmed because everything that's happening at the national level is so, it's intangible in a way. It feels like everything is happening out of our control. We elect a Democrat and the Democrat fails to do any of the things that we want them to do. And then we get an authoritarian in office and that authoritarian promises to dismantle all of our essential systems. And like, you just kind of go like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do about this? And the answer is kind of nothing. The thing that we need to do is shore up our local communities to weather these broader scale things that are going to impact our communities, like the climate change, like the collapsing economy. How are we going to resist locally? Honestly, I'm going to tell you this, and some of you are not going to be pleased because there's 107 people here, and some of you are probably not regulars of my channel. Wearing a fucking mask is the number one thing you can do right this second to make a difference in your everyday. Protect your health, protect the people around you, protect your identity. We need to start from the ground up, restructuring our society to be focused on facts, on data, on studies, on a concept of community care. We need to establish communities where we care about the most vulnerable among us. If you're sitting here worried about if you're not trans and you're sitting here worried about what's going to happen to trans people, well, trans people are more likely to have long-term complications from COVID. We're more likely to be disabled than the general population. So if you're not protecting people against disability, how can any of us rely on you to have our backs on anything more important? Basic shit. Sending money to people's GoFundMes as they try to flee red states. Offering your couch to someone who is trying to move from one place to another. Helping drive someone to one of those safer places. Disabled people don't just need a ride to the polls. They also need a ride to pick up their groceries. So we need to start looking at the much more small situations. Like we did the voting. We did that. Everybody who voted, thank you. If you voted third party, well, you didn't end up making that much of a difference. So it's like, we can't really be that mad at you anyway. I don't think that third party voters are responsible for the fact that Kamala has like 10 million fewer votes than Biden did last time. So whatever. Like, okay, we all voted. Congrats. Hopefully you voted on local things. I'm about to move, but I voted on some local stuff because I wanted to make sure that I leave this place a good place before I move away. I looked through every single thing on my ballot and I made sure that I had an informed decision about all those things. And there are still going to be local elections. Sometimes there's stuff that you vote on in May. Sometimes there's stuff that you vote on in August. 15 million less. Well, they weren't done counting the votes. Yeah, if all the third-party votes went to Harris, she still lost. I'm not in America and couldn't vote. Is that okay? No! No, you're fine. But like, so voting for the president is not even the only voting that you can do. In 2 years, we're going to have midterms, which I'm imagining will have a blue wave at midterms, but I don't know. Hard to predict that far ahead in the future. It just seems like that tends to be what happens. Like, when there's a presidential, a lot of the times they end up winning at one or both of houses of Congress, and then 2 years later, everybody's mad at their lack of performance, so then the other team gets in the houses of Congress. So, yeah, voting for those local things, voting on the off season, like on the years that there's not a presidential election, but more than that, taking material action. Is it illegal in your community, in your municipality? Is it illegal for citizens to give out food to the homeless, to like set up a thing where you're giving out food? Okay, well, challenge that law. Get it on the ballot. Put up a referendum. Get that shit taken down. Start volunteering at the homeless shelter. Volunteer at the Humane Society. You know, obviously, like, that's not going to help humans very much, but I'm just saying, like, get involved in your community. Get to know people. Treat the people among you like they're members of your community. This is something that I think we miss a lot about homeless people. That, first and foremost, homeless people are members of your community. Excuse me. And yes, it can be scary sometimes to interact with people. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God. So burpy. I'm so sorry. It can be scary to interact with people who are behaving erratically or who you feel are unpredictable. But like extending compassion to folks, treating them like they're members of your community, helping, you know, if you see a mom struggling to open the door because she's got like a handful of children, small gestures. Do you have a Democrat running for mayor? Can you volunteer for that? Do you think Harris will run for midterms? I'm not sure. It seems like it sort of depends. Like, is she going to try to keep things open for a presidential run? Because if she becomes a senator, then I am not sure how that works with her trying to get a presidential run later. I also don't think was she a senator before? Or did they she was just a prosecutor? And thank you, hold on one second. She was a prosecutor and then was the VP choice. I'm not sure if she had a political appointment before or if she was just a prosecutor. Alan Showerman, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Says, stay safe but stay defiant. Be the thorn in their side. True. She was a senator before. Okay. So she could potentially resume being a senator. But it's entirely possible that her political career could be over. In fact, I kind of guess that it would be. Like, to lose that badly, to lose not only the Electoral College, but the popular vote, yeah, that's rough. Yes, thank you, Alan, for that donation. That's $115 for today. If we get to $300, I will show you what's in the second smaller box. Look at this. Look at this cute little box. Oh my goodness. Do you want to know what's inside of it? Cool. I'm in a weird mood today, guys. I'm in a very weird mood. I think a lot of us are in a really weird mood. But let me drink some water real quick. Everybody remember, see, basic level stuff. Take care of yourself. And that means drink water and sleep and feed your body. You know, basic level stuff. What's up, Atreyu? Welcome in. Chu, I'm assuming what you meant to say just then was that we just had a flimsy law placed in our city that restricts you from giving out food to people. Thank you for the donation in a box. 627 says, I want to make the numbers weird. All right, well, fine. Be that way. If you insist. 121... What did you just say? 27? I have the memory of a squirrel right now. 27. 121.27. All right. Thank you very much for everybody. Your donations are very much appreciated. Like, so just to kind of give you a moment here of personal whatever. I've been talking to my partner a little bit about the move, and it's confirmed completely that he is not going to be able to get a job before we move. So I'm about to move across the country and have to find a landlord who's willing to give us the benefit of the doubt that he will be able to find a job soon after we get there. So I might need to pay 2 months rent up front on top of the usual first month's rent and security deposit, and I have a U-Haul that I have to buy, and all this stuff, you know. So it's gonna be very tumultuous. Like, this is the thing about moving across the country, and I want you to understand this. Like, even when you have a bunch of money saved up, it's precarious and difficult. And, like, my partner is a skilled tradesman with, like, an in-demand skill, and it's still quite difficult. So, yeah, I don't grant... anybody who has, like, less savings than we do, I completely get it. If we didn't have as much stuff as we do, it probably would be easier. But, like, my partner has a bunch of tools for his job that we can't get rid of. In fact, we might have to buy even more tools for him to continue to do his job. So, donations are going to be appreciated. January, which is coming up very fucking soon. It's only 2 months away, realistically. So, I'm hopeful for it, and I'm hoping it's going to be better, but it's going to be tough. So, Chariot, did you take the 4 and the 1 out of your name? Hello, Chariot. Yeah, everybody's broke as hell. It may be the case that you just have to sell all of your shit. And maybe, like, get a shitty job at a grocery store until things kind of come together and couch surf for a little bit. But, yeah. I think that... Oh, thank you! Ben Jules Run, my very first member. It's still in my handle. Okay, no worries, Chariot. Trying new things. Completely got you. Thank you very much for becoming a member on YouTube. We don't have... you're my first member. I used to have them open, and then I closed it, and so now it's open again, so... Yeah, if you want cool benefits and stuff, you can potentially join the... It's $5 a month to become a member. So, thank you. 126.27 for today. Okay. I completely understand why Vosh doesn't read donos in the middle of stream anymore. I think the emotional groundwork for a lot of us was laid at Biden's debate. Oh, like the presumption that we were going to lose? For sure. I could see that being the case. Honestly, I realized that I did genuinely hope that... I think I really did think that Kamala was going to win. I think that I just kind of assumed that and sort of took it for granted that that was going to happen. Hey, custom emojis in the chat. So I was actually quite surprised. And it seems like a lot of the... a lot of the polling and the predictions showed her winning. And a lot of the predictions showed her winning kind of by a lot. And so the fact that the numbers are so different this time, like so different from the predictions, it does make you wonder if there was some kind of shenanigans, or like, does this country really hate women that much? I know it's kind of pointless to speculate, but do you think Biden would have done any better if he stayed in? Oh, no, honey, for sure. I mean, would he have done better? I don't know. I wasn't planning on voting for Biden. I did vote for Kamala. It didn't make any difference anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I think there was polling harassment. Yeah, polling harassment. Some ballots were set on fire in like the Portland area and in the Seattle area. I emotionally prepared myself for Trump winning before Kamala entered. Yeah, I felt very hopeful when Kamala took the nomination a couple months ago. And then that hopefulness kind of collapsed as she went on all these like right-wing policies. These results are so unpredictable, it makes me wonder. That's the question, is like, why did this happen this way? How did this happen in such an unpredictable manner? It wasn't all of Portland's votes, and they offered people an opportunity to vote provisionally in case their first ballot wasn't counted because it was destroyed. So it's not like Portland didn't get a vote. It was only a couple ballot boxes. It's not like it was the whole city. One of my housemates didn't get his mail-in ballot until less than a week ago. Yeah. I don't really know how mail-in works. I think I've done it like once, but I'm not sure if they're supposed to send them out much earlier than that. One of my partners, someone straight up robbed the mailman for the keys to their mailbox. They had to replace the locks. There's all kinds of crazy shit happening right now, it seems. The ballot box that burned up here was actually in Vancouver, Washington. I thought that there were several. But also Vancouver is literally right next to Portland, so you could understand my confusion. Oh, I could see that being the case. The media coverage around Trump is like it was in 2016, in the sense that it's like, oh, look at this bumbling fool, he can't possibly win. So a lot of people checked out. Yeah. It was all in the Portland area. One guy was doing the arsons. In Oregon, we got our mail-in ballots 3 weeks ago. I love that they just have mail-in by default in Oregon. That's super cool. America isn't ready for a POC woman yet if they go for a criminal fascist instead. Yeah, like we have just nominated a pedophile rapist to the highest office in the land. A pedophile rapist felon. And like, yeah, was the misogyny the reason? Was the racism the reason? You can't pin it on any one thing, obviously. Like it's a multifaceted topic. You've got multiple different potential explanations. The Hispanic vote, like, okay, Hispanics are by and large Catholic, many, many Catholics, and they also have a culture that's pretty misogynistic. But so do white people have a culture that's pretty misogynistic. So, and then you've got like the anti-black racism. And then you've got the fact that Kamala doesn't seem to really stand strong for progressive values. And the genocide thing. Like, yeah, people think that she may have lost Michigan because of the large Muslim population there. I saw another YouTuber talking about the blacklash. What? I don't understand what that's supposed to mean. Felons should be allowed to vote now since one's going to be president. Well, yes. I'm going to be pedantic and say like, yo, felons usually can vote. Sometimes not when they're in prison, but they usually can vote afterwards. Felons should be eligible for any job. That's the thing, too. If a felon can be the president of the United States, then what is stopping a felon from working at McDonald's? Clearly, being a felon doesn't really mean much anymore if you can break all kinds of crazy laws and just do whatever. She for sure lost Michigan because of her stance on Israel. Yeah. I mean, she was so smug and condescending about the Israel issue. And she basically straight up said, well, if you want your grocery prices to get in control under my leadership, then you're going to have to accept that I'm going to keep sending bombs to destroy and mangle little children. Like, I can understand why many people felt sick voting for her, or why many people felt that they couldn't, in good conscience, vote for her. Oh no. Something happened to my live stream? Uh-oh. Okay, no, it's still up. Sorry. The page was like, I'm gonna reload randomly. I'm like, what are you doing? Let me know if anything blips or goes crazy or anything. True, you just have to be a rich felon. Mm-hmm. Currently, the Democratic Party is where the Republicans were 10 to 20 years ago. We have Republicans and Republican Light. Yeah, we have a fascist party and we have a neoconservative party. That's pretty much it. The right-leaning folks I know are very animated about Kamala hating Christians. I mean, shit, like, yeah, did she not lean in? I know that that was a concern with Obama as well, and Obama ended up being like, yo, this is the church I go to. Let me do speeches with my pastor and things along those lines. So, like, yeah, I can't remember Kamala talking about religion. I assume because she's a black woman and an American that she is Christian, because statistically those groups are Christian, but I don't actually know. Like, yeah, did she not pander to the religious people enough? It's kind of a little bit of everything, you know? It's a little bit of everything. It's misogyny, it's racism, it's misogynoir specifically. Thank you, In a Box. In a Box has decided that they want the numbers to be sensible again, so donated $13.73, which, you know what? I'm not going to try to do math in my head right now because I'm actually a little bit, I'm feeling the stupid today. Okay, that does make it 140 even. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to do the math incorrectly. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. Several donations today, so thank you. I do think Kamala, or at least people in her campaign, intentionally threw the election by intentionally taking stances on issues designed to alienate people. She started out so strong, but then shortly after went stupid. So I do generally have this belief that that Democrats lose on purpose, or like their actions make a lot more sense if you start thinking of them in terms of like they're losing on purpose versus they happen to be incompetent. Or like, you know, if they're trying to win, then they're making bad decisions. So I do kind of see the argument that maybe they're trying to lose on purpose. This seems like a pretty big losing on purpose. If they lost on purpose in this case, it's because they're fully complicit in the fascism and they're just like a covert party supporting that fascism, which I feel is a bit of a stretch. False opposition. Yeah, I guess the question is like, are the Democrats going to even performatively oppose the fascism? Or when the fascism starts to really spiral out, are they going to full-throatedly support it? You know, that's kind of, I guess we will see. We will see. Or that's when we would see if they are going to have any opposition to that whatsoever. Hi, Uncomfy. Uncomfy says, my head hurts and I feel like death, but this has sort of just refueled my spite tank and I intend to live as long and as well as possible to honor the trans people who lost hope or died in the fight. Yeah, this I do feel like I've just sunk my teeth in further today. This is kind of, I guess, why, or I guess this is the message that I want to give to you in this stream today, is like, I have even more determination. I have even more defiance. This is time to resist. This is time to rebel. This is time to prepare for shit to hit the fan. This is a time to cling to a dirty, gritty hope. Not so much that they're losing. Hi, Silent. Not so much that they're losing on purpose as they're trying to win without the left and refuse to accept that there's no path to victory for them without the left. So yes, I do think that, well, okay, so here's my position that has been on this for a while. I find it really frustrating that they don't seem to feel the need to court the left because they presume that they will get our vote. Like, I don't think that they're trying to win without the left. I think that they're just assuming that they will get the left vote because our only alternative is Trump, and that would be so cataclysmically bad that, that like we have no choice but to vote for the Democrats. That's part of why I've been so upset, is because I feel like I'm held hostage to the Democratic Party in the face of fascism and concentration camps. So I don't know if she refused to take progressive policies because they think that they can win without the left. And I don't know if there are enough leftist voters or left-leaning voters to have made that big of a difference in this election, or if it was mostly like normie liberals who just didn't show up this time. Dems and Repubs are so similar already that merging wouldn't be a stretch. With the right wing going full fascist, them merging would be a pretty big step in my mind. Bad planning, lack of democratic cohesion, and sudden changes mid-process. Yeah, like, would things have been different if we had had a proper primary? If Tim Walz had been the choice instead of Kamala, we can ask a million what-if questions. We can run a million simulations trying to figure out, you know, what would have been the winning ticket. Yeah, Trump winning the popular vote is just, that's crazy to me. Like, a Republican hasn't won the popular vote since, what was it, the 90s? Was it the 80s? Yeah, Kamala's gonna keep her promise of having a Republican in the cabinet. Oh my god. Good fucking lord. So I do think, again, obviously there's a lot of what if going on. And, you know, this is the situation as it's been presented to us. These are the lemons. Life have given us the lemons. Oh, it was Bush in 2004. Okay, cool. Do I become a member here by becoming a member on Patreon? So there's like 3 different memberships that you can have. You can have one on YouTube, which is kind of basically like Patreon. You can become a patron, but there are no benefits on the website, or you can become a subscriber on the website with one of the links over here, and that's directly on luxander.net, and that'll give you custom emojis and color in the chat there. So those are the 3 different things. You kind of don't get a lot else on the website chat, except for the fun color and access to the custom emojis. So, well, yeah, after 9/11, right? Like, the guy running on patriotism and fucking anti-Muslim whatever, like, yeah, it makes sense that he won after. Yeah, I agree. It would have been closer with Walz because of the race and gender factor. This country hates black people and women, for sure. I find it hard to want to rebel and exist out of sheer spite when I have 4 kiddos and have to put their safety and well-being first. So to be clear, when I say, like, rebel and exist out of sheer spite, that can also include just like continuing to live. Because if they make being trans illegal, then you existing is a rebellion. I don't know if you're trans, Jade, but I'm not saying go out there and throw Molotov cocktails. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I think most people don't have that. I don't have that. I'm not interested in full-on combat. I'm not interested in going to protests. I'm not interested in dealing with all that shit. My form of rebellion is living well, establishing community, loving my friends, being trans, regardless of the consequences. I'm a trans man. Yeah. So, like, I'm going to be the person who grows food. I'm going to be the person who you can come to get stitches if you need it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold down the fort. I'm going to be able to violently defend myself, but I'm not going to, like, go out there and be on the front lines. Yes, exactly. I loved that thread too, Silent. Silent had a great thread on Blue Sky. Basically, among other things, saying you don't have to be a fighter, you just have to fight in whatever form your fight takes. Yeah. Do whatever you are capable of doing. Don't give up. Don't lie down and rot. If you need to check out every once in a while, then check out every once in a while. But, like, keep focusing on those things that you have control over. This is a big part of how I manage my anxiety. So this is why I want to give to you, if you're super anxious about things that are outside your control, then start exerting control over the things that you can control. Move. Make a plan. Follow through. Take a class. Buy a gun. Whatever it is that you need to do, start exerting control. I know how to administer shots for what it's worth. I can do intramuscular and subcutaneous shots. I could not administer any kind of like intravenous thing, at least not without some trial and error. But hey, it only takes 6 months to become a phlebotomist through a phlebotomist class. So yeah, if you want to be equipped to do that for whatever reason, then yeah, fucking go for it, dude. Yeah, take a health day if you need to. Chupacabra says, I'm reading Blood in My Eye right now and I can't recommend it enough. That and Mutual Aid. I'm assuming those are both books. Who are they by? What's up, Zypation? What was our new 9/11 that caused the popular vote for Bush and then now in the modern day? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's the economy, honestly. Like, I think that part of the reason why most people decided to change their voting practices this time was because of, I mean, just the economy is shit right now. Inflation is super high. Even when inflation comes down, it's like, okay, well, the price of groceries is still increasing. It's just increasing less. We haven't had a deflation. We haven't gone back to the previous prices. They just keep going up. Although I haven't really seen very much, like, strong commentary from Trump about the economy. It's hard not to keep drawing lines back to Gamergate. Fucking true. COVID is why Biden was elected. I guess it kind of seemed like Trump failed at the whole COVID situation, but I mean, this is not a popular thing, but the failure of COVID, like I said, I was on Dead Domain stream yesterday. Dead Domain is the fucking best. And they invited me to be on their show for a little while yesterday, and I really appreciate that. I am filled with just putrid rage over the fact that we have been abandoned to a mass death and mass disabling event in the form of COVID. That's a failure of both Trump and Biden. Actually, I would say it's even more on Biden than it is on anything else. What is Gamergate? Oh boy, Raina's Raider, are you young? I'm guessing you must be young. Gamergate was basically a bunch of gamers back in the day got really pissed. It was basically where the whole I hate this woke shit in my video games thing started. They were accusing, it was like when people were really pissed off at Anita Sarkeesian, who was running the show Feminist Frequency at the time, talking about violence in video games and like violence against women. I'm 20. Wow, you're very young for this topic. It makes sense why you don't know what Gamergate is. And then there was Zoe. What was her name? Zoe something, who was a writer for a games magazine, and she was being accused of like misrepresenting things about the games or like giving games bad reviews or something. And then you had Brianna Wu at the same time, who was being involved in this. Basically, it's kind of when gamers decided that they were going to be super fucking vocal about how much they hated women. It's really where this woke games shit started, where this like Zoe Quinn, thank you. Their name, sorry. That's kind of where this whole thing started. And then it was the Gamergate types who started picking up this whole I identify as a attack helicopter thing and like super anti-trans. And yeah, we kind of see this continuing a legacy of radicalizing young male gamers. And I think that probably, you could probably look at some direct lines. They want to defund NOAA. I know, they want to defund a lot of stuff. Oh, Zoe Quinn was accused of sleeping with games journalists in order to get good reviews for their games. Okay, so Zoe was not the one writing the reviews. It's been such a long time, and I haven't thought about any of this in a long time. Yeah, and obviously Zoe wasn't doing that. But Zoe was just a little indie game developer and ended up being at the nexus of this whole backlash. I'm 21. Gamergate happened when I was in middle school. Made me a shithead for a couple years, but I got better. I'm glad you got better. Specifically, allegedly they slept with someone to review their game Depression Quest, which was, and I cannot stress this enough, a free game. Sargon of Akkad, yeah. Gamergate was a strange time to live through. I kind of feel like there was a convergence of anti-female sentiment among atheist creators and then Gamergate, and they kind of converged and then like became this disgusting monster. This was an internet lore dive I was not prepared for. Listen, yeah, but that's the thing. Everything that's happening now is moored in something that happened before. Like a lot of the things that the government does in terms of disregarding your right to privacy is like, it harkens back to 9/11 and the Patriot Act. I'm so sorry, Mick. I didn't call out your tier 1 sub earlier. Thank you very much for your tier 1 subscription on the website. I hope you like having a fun color name and getting to use the custom emojis on the website, chat. Thank you so much. Y'all have been very generous today, and I appreciate that. Yes, the context of all that has come before. That, like, Kamala quote where she's quoting her mom. Do you think you fell out of a coconut tree? No, you're part of something. Everything that's happening now is moored in facts from the past. Milo Yiannopoulos got big through Gamergate. Yeah. A lot of these problems are huge. Like, impossible to even fit inside your brain. much less coming up with solutions, you know? Is it that young men feel disenfranchised and lonely? Is it that patriarchy has taught men that they're entitled to women's attention, and when they don't get it, they feel like they're losing something they should be guaranteed to have? Is it because Obama like created a new resurgence of racism? Like, I don't know that we could pin it on any one thing or what the solution is to any of these problems. That's why I get overwhelmed by this and I have to scale back. Moss being generous by being here for us on a day most took off. I really felt like there was no option but for me to stream today. I tried my best to not pay attention to any of this stuff last night, and I failed miserably. I told Dead Domain, I was like, I'm going to stream with you for a little bit, and then I'm going to stop paying attention to this. And then I fucking put on the Vosh stream. Although, God bless Vosh, it's so much easier to consume this content when you have someone... And like, Vosh was injecting hopium the entire time, and people were like dooming in his chat, and he was like, you have to be responsible for your emotions. It's okay for you to be emotionally overwhelmed, but it's not okay for you to be like shitty and annoying about it. So he was a good filter to take that information through. And then we went to bed at like 11:30 last night. I knew at that point at 11:30 last night that Trump was going to win. And I went to bed and I cuddled my husband. And then I had a very difficult time sleeping because it was cold as shit in my house last night for some reason. I was watching Star Trek Prodigy with friends and ignoring the whole thing. I didn't even check the electoral map before going to bed. I was like, that's tomorrow's problem. I'm going to sleep. Yeah. If I had access to copious amounts of edibles, I might have been able to check out. But I did not. Kansas does not have edibles, so should have driven to Missouri. No, just kidding. How much liquor was collectively consumed last night? That's a great question. Yeah, I didn't drink it all last night. We're going to have some wine tonight because, listen, okay, this is an interesting thing. So I'm trans and my partner is cis, and we do, hands up in the chat if you want me to try to convince my partner to come on the show for like a partner reveal, or to like talk about any, I don't know, what our relationship is like or whatever, like what his perspective is on things. Hands up. But my partner is more upset than I am today. And maybe it's because I'm the one who's directly affected, and maybe he feels like, oh, my partner is being affected by this, so I'm concerned for my partner. But like, my partner is more depressed than I am today. I just feel like I made my plans already, and I'm going to keep following through on those plans. I know Oregon does. It's going to be really interesting living in a place where there are just dispensaries. Fascinating. Silent says, that's the crux of the matter. Capitalism, catastrophic climate change, white supremacy, fascism, misogyny. None of these are individual problems. They are all heads of a Gordian, not of a hydra, too vast to fully conceive of. Truly. They all go hand in hand, and they're all going to, like, they're all maybe all going to collapse at the same time. Or at least capitalism and climate change are going to collapse at the same, like, they're going to hit a peak at the same time. It remains to be seen whether white supremacy, fascism, and misogyny will go down with the ship. But, you know, we only have about 15 years to wait. Haven't you been asking that for years at this point? I mean, I've definitely been asking for like a few months at least. I keep forgetting to ask him. I keep forgetting to ask and be like, yo, will you come on the show? Yeah, exactly, Chupacabra. Yeah, things were not going to suck. It's just gonna suck quicker now. Josie Caballero on the line last night was trying really hard to keep everyone balanced against the strong pessimism. Things still turned out poorly, but kudos to her for her work. Yeah, you know, Josie has been one of the most optimistic people in this process, and I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
What's up? I know that what is that? Derniz? $2 for the super chat. Thank you. Says if capitalism goes, the state goes at this point. Yeah, I'm not really sure how the economy could collapse and the state remains intact. I made a video a while ago where I was talking about this, and I ended up deleting the video because I kind of went off the rails at a certain point. But I don't know how. So the climate shit is going to go crazy, which is going to cause the economy to collapse, and many other reasons causing the economy to collapse. I don't know how you can maintain a unified US government if the economy collapses. Like, that's part of the government's job, is to maintain the economy. Josie was predicting 319 votes for Kamala. Okay, I love Josie. She's a little bit delulu sometimes. That's insane. And then Matt Delahunty said, if she even gets 318, I will tattoo your name on my ass. I don't know that there's ever been a sweep that big in my lifetime. It feels like every election is much, much, much closer than that. But of course, I guess sometimes I stop paying attention after you cross the 270 mark, and I don't know the final count. Byron says, I can confirm that a large portion of my anxiety came from realizing how much this could impact my wife's health. We want to start trying for children when I finish my PhD. Yeah, just you have to live somewhere that has a guaranteed right. And more places are passing that. To be fair, like, it does feel better, I guess, knowing that, like, okay, in Kansas, we have a constitutional right to an abortion. Missouri just voted to do the same thing. Florida almost voted to do the same thing. Like, we have places where the states have said, well, guess what? We have a right to abortion in our constitution. And so there's going to be a very big butting of heads if the federal government tries to pass a ban. We're going to have, like, some very big issues. Oh, Obama got 332. Wow. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to the final votes, I guess. Hello, Kitty Tick. Honestly think that Kamala failed because she failed to act Democrat enough. Inaction on Palestine, inaction on climate change, just failed to be even a better Biden comparison. And, like, Biden is... he's a weight on Kamala. Like, no matter what, Biden's actions reflect on Kamala because she works with him so closely. Excuse me. I feel that for sure about the people less impacted being a bit more distraught than me. My friend sprained her ankle yesterday and wasn't able to drive, so I drove her to the train station so she could go home to vote, and then we hit traffic and missed the train, and she was in absolute tears. Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad to hear that. That does feel like, okay, we could galvanize. And people who didn't vote going like, oh shit, I didn't realize that this was going to happen if I didn't vote. Let's, you know... I guess that is one nice thing about a Trump win, that we don't have the complacency. Because I think a lot of us were really frustrated when Biden won, and there was this whole let's go back to brunch thing. Like, okay, well, now that Trump is out, we don't need to keep doing things. We can just relax and everything will be okay. And that kind of goes into, I think, what Gayfesh said right at the top, which I know that you didn't think this, Gayfesh, but like the idea that institutionalism could provide good results. I think that a lot of people felt good after Biden won. They were like, yeah, let's go. Like, we got this. We got this handled. It's not a big deal. And if Kamala had won, there is a good chance that there would have been a lot of complacency. So I think one positive thing potentially about this is that people at least won't relax. They'll say, oh shit, this is not good. We need to do something. Oh yeah, Rainus. Anybody who's in the YouTube chat, by the way, who's curious, this is not Twitch chat over here. I don't do Twitch. I'm considering dual streaming to Twitch, but I have to pay $150 for a Streamlabs subscription, and I need to move across the country. You see the problem here. So there is a good chance that I will start dual streaming to Twitch next year, but not right now. But right now, this is my website chat, so you can come directly to the website if you want to. No worries, Atreyu. Be safe out there. Be good. Be well. The amount of people who said that Trump would never step foot in the White House again is alarming. Truly. Yeah, it's goldfish politics. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I've said it many times. Some of you maybe are here for the first time hearing it. COVID causes brain damage, point blank, period. If you've had a COVID infection, if you've ever felt brain fog, or if you've ever felt like your memory is different, if you've ever lost your sense of smell or taste, that's brain damage, baby. We're seeing an increase in car accidents. We're seeing like poor performance in schools. We're seeing more erratic behavior from students in schools. This shit causes brain damage, increases paranoia, increases emotional dysregulation, reduces people's ability to cognitively reason. That's part of why. I'm gonna go out there and say it. That part of the reason why we're in this situation is because let it rip COVID practices have resulted in mass brain damage, even for people who had mild infections, people who don't have debilitating disabilities and illness otherwise. Sorry. The Streamlabs pricing is insane. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, Restream.io is also pretty expensive. Like, I already use Streamlabs, so that's probably the one I'm gonna get. Yeah, at least boomers got their brain damage from yummy paint and not from a respiratory, well, it's not even a respiratory illness, it's a cardiovascular illness with a respiratory phase. I've been dealing with, are you saying you've been dealing with these cognitive difficulties since you were younger? Gotta try and help some of these people figure out how to handle it. I've definitely noticed a decline in my memory since I got COVID. Yeah. When I first got the Delta wave, when I first recovered from the Delta wave, I would be leaving my house and the end of my street had a T intersection, and I would forget where I was going and like whether I needed to turn left or right. And I have ADHD, but that was a very different kind of memory issue. I've never had that happen before. Does it also turn the frogs gay? I wish. Yeah, Trump fully got the brain damaged vote. It was so weird. I do the Renaissance Festival. The Kansas City Renaissance Festival is like the one that I appreciate the most. And like, yeah, so in Kansas City, there were lots of people. It's so strange because like I live in a relatively blue area in the Kansas City metro area. And I guess I don't go out of my house that much. But I was going to the KCRF and I saw shirts, people wearing shirts that were like, I'm voting for the felon. And it's like, wow, that's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. So it's very strange just going out there in the world and realizing that these people are just among us and we just, like, do we have to figure out some way to live with them? My answer to that is no, I'm going to go somewhere else. I don't have to figure out how to coexist with you, actually, because we can't live in the world together. We have mutually exclusive belief structures. There is no living in the world with these people. You just have to wait for them to basically destroy themselves. COVID hit me hard. If it actually affects the brain that much, it might have been the catalyst for me making me realize I was trans. Maybe it does reduce your inhibitions. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe the Dems will stop trying to be 95% as reactionary on immigration. Among other issues, they felt the need to cede entirely to the right. I do think... So there will be a campaign. Some of y'all were asking me earlier, will there actually be a next election? There will be a campaign. Even if, and like, I agree with some of you were saying earlier that maybe it will be a theater, an election of theater, or like maybe only white men will be allowed to vote, or maybe only white men who own property will be allowed to vote, Or maybe there will only be one vote per household, whatever. I do think there will be a campaign. So the question is, like, what direction are the Democrats going to take this? Are they going to recognize that they did not get any Republican votes despite the fact that they tried to, and that they lost so many Democrat votes that, like, Benny was saying this in the DD chat yesterday in Dead Domains stream. Benny.gay was saying that basically that the Democratic Party will have no choice but to start capitulating to the left and start supporting more and more progressive policies. I don't actually know if that's the case. Of course, I hope that that's the case, but it's kind of hard to say. I really do need to change something because this is like, it's like just a dark blob over here for you guys. Am I wrong? Is that just a dark blob over here? Sorry, I get distracted by stream things sometimes. Yeah, it's just a dark blob. I think I need to reduce the contrast on the camera. I'm going to do that really fast. This is bothering me. Because I did turn... Whoa, I turned the contrast up quite a bit at some point. Are you making live changes? I actually... there's like reflection of the light off of my glasses that makes it kind of hard for me to see my screen, actually. Contrast. I don't think it's actually changing anything right now. It's interesting. All right, I'll deal with it later. Anyway, okay, come back, chat. Where are you? Where are you? I need you. History tells us the Dems will just move more to the right. I don't know, man. I don't know. Weirdly enough, I haven't suffered any long-term effects of COVID. Definitely sucks for any of y'all who have to deal with that. So I will say something like 10 to 20% of COVID infections result in a long-term complication, like something that lasts beyond that first 6 weeks. But I don't think it being behind chat is that big of an issue. Like, this is still vibrant green. You can still see that's vibrant green even behind the chat. The reason it's behind the chat is because I want it to be a tantalizing thing for you, and also there's nowhere else for me to put it. I want you to see it all the time while you're chatting. But yeah, so 80 to 90% of COVID infections do not result in long-term complications. However, every time you get it, you increase the chance that you have a long-term complication. So just because you haven't had any long-term effects of COVID doesn't mean that you won't next time. Every time you catch COVID, you roll that 10% dice, or that 10 to 20% dice. You roll it every time, and the chance goes up every time. When I had COVID, I didn't even realize I lost my sense of taste until my partner bought me ice cream. I thought it was vanilla, and they were like, that's mint, babe. Oh, man. Oh, that's so sad. Ugh. Rip in pieces, so. Oh, gosh. I'm just gonna take a second to kind of, like, chill, and... Because, like, this... It's a lot, you know? It's a lot. I'm gonna drink some water and just give myself a moment here. I'm about to run out of water. I'm gonna have to get more later. It's like a critical failed D20, but every time you succeed, you gain successive disadvantage rolls on it the next time. Truly. Putting it in nerd terms for the nerds. Oh my god, Kitty Tech, I fucking love those. The living woven willow fences. I love the idea of putting that around my property. Oh god, I love the idea of doing that. It's also, you can also use them to buttress, if you have erosion happening, like on the edge of a pond or something, they're really good for that too. And every year they will sprout stuff and you can cut that off and use that to weave baskets or feed your goats or whatever. Man, that's good shit. Anyway, yeah, I'm about to become like a homestead person, so look forward to that on my channel One Oasis Left as I talk about gardening and fucking chickens and guns and shit. I imagine we'll see expansions of the current voter suppression tactics focused on swing states and red states that have been trending blueward. Crackdowns on direct action, exactly what Cop City exists to train police to do, will continue to ramp up as well. Yeah, I think that's accurate. We already see voter suppression tactics. The Kansas Supreme Court determined that our state constitution does not guarantee you a right to vote. So any voter suppression stuff that passes is just A-okay. And, yeah, voter intimidation, voter suppression, I think those things are, yeah, going to be on the rise. So if you can request a mail-in ballot, do that. If you can vote early, do that. It drives me up the wall seeing these giant long lines on election day where people are like, oh, I've been in line for 4 hours. Like, was there no place open on Saturday? Could you not have gone to vote on Saturday? That shit bothers me so much. One Oasis Left, even better title now. I was thinking ahead, yo. Atreyu actually was the one who gave me that. I know they're gone in the chat now, but Atreyu was the one who proposed that idea. And yeah, the One Oasis Left. It's a homestead channel from the leftist perspective. Oh, hey, that's great to hear, Mick. Mick says, if I can, give kudos to your little community here. A while back, I complained about not being able to afford wisdom teeth extraction because insurance is stupid. The chat called out that the situation I was describing didn't make sense, and I double-checked following that chat and discovered I understood my insurance coverage wrong. As a result, I am getting my wisdom teeth out on Friday. You guys helped me save thousands of dollars. Hey, that is great to hear. We love to hear it. Shout out to the Horties for giving good advice. So I have a wisdom tooth on part of my face that is grown out like this. Like if these points represent the crown of my tooth, it's like this in my cheek. Like here's my cheek. It's like this in my cheek. So actually part of the tooth broke off recently. I still have it on my desk. Like part of my tooth is just broke off. Can we... and I found a COVID-safe dentist, and I'm gonna get my teeth cleaned in a couple weeks and get some x-rays and determine how bad that situation is. I'm probably not gonna be able to afford to get the tooth removed yet. Probably just do that, like, I don't know, next year, or I don't know, depends on how bad the situation is. My partner needs a lot of dental work, too, but we don't have insurance, so, yay. The amount of people that actually have no clue how to vote other than going to the local elementary school on election day didn't know there was another option until too late. Yeah, well, we can't blame them because we know that that information is being kept from them on purpose. I feel vindicated by my anarchism now. Listen, like, we can still build these things even when Trump is president. We can build local coalitions. We can do anarchist action, which basically just means operating outside the official avenues. If you have a law in your local area that says you're not allowed to give out food to homeless people, like, in an organized fashion, then if you first of all, if you do it anyway, that's anarchism. But if you get that law removed so that your community can support itself without the need of the government to have oversight over every little thing you do, that's also anarchist action. If you have a bunch of shitty potholes on your street and you go buy some of the asphalt mix, that it's like they call it like a driveway asphalt. You can, because that's what it's for. It's for you to patch your own driveway. If you patch the road on your street, that's anarchist action There are so many things that you can do. I voted on Halloween when a lot of the young slash parent age people were busy. There you go. There is so much that we can do. Chaos food distribution. Yes, exactly. Oh man, I have like a cramp right now. My pec just got really tight for some reason. I'm not even allowed to exercise right now, so it's like my body shouldn't hurt like this. People have spray painted dicks around potholes to get the city to fix them. Yeah, I've heard of that happening. I've heard of that working. Cuz then the city's like, well, if we're going to remove this, then we might as well patch the thing. Ow. It's like my pec muscle right there. Ouchie. I don't know what's up with that. I must have slept on it weird. Yeah. We gotta start having some real love for humans. Plant stuff in public areas, community gardens too. If you're gonna plant stuff, make sure that it's non-invasive. Yeah, people need to understand, people need to broaden their understanding of anarchism and community beyond protest and propaganda. Yeah. I'm feeling a lot more hopeful than I probably have any right to feel, I guess. We absolutely have the ability to make change where it matters. If you express care and love to people around you, if you express community care by wearing a mask and preventing COVID spread, if you help organize local food drives, if you volunteer at the food kitchen or the homeless shelter. Yeah, direct action is so much more than crowd protest. And even in the context of crowd protest, you can wear masks to protect each other, protect your identity. You can learn first aid so that you can give first aid. Someone asked me earlier if I had previously given first aid resources, and I don't think I have before. I don't think I've given first aid resources before. I loved the old stories of folks combining slash splicing fruit tree branches onto public trees. That's really interesting. Like grafting a fruit tree branch onto a non-fruit bearing tree. Could be fun. Ugh. There's just so much we can do. And like, I think we need to give each other grace. This is something that I think hasn't been talked about enough. We do a lot of infighting on the left. You know, we do a lot of bitching about stuff that is kind of inconsequential. Like there was all this conversation like 3 weeks ago about this art of a non-binary person that reminded some people of the caricatures that people make of trans women where they like have facial hair and chest hair and they're wearing bad makeup, right? And trans women in particular were really freaking out about this because it reminded them of those depictions. And it's like, yo, some trans people just look like that and they deserve to be depicted in art. And it's a bad thing when we say, oh, this type of person is bad for us. It's a bad narrative. It's like the kind of trans people who look like that, the ones who I have seen who look like that, are assigned female at birth. So you're kind of just like saying non-binary people make you as a real trans binary person look bad. And that's the kind of stuff that I would like to see happen less, especially now. The differences between us are much, much smaller than we think. and we need to like set aside some of this dumb shit to make sure that we can actually accomplish anything. Listen, I'm going to go right out and say it. I don't like a lot of queer people. I don't make a point of becoming part of communities of queer people a lot of the time. Like, I do crochet. Like, I'm a fiber arts person, and I'm in some Facebook groups for crochet, and there's this one that keeps being recommended to me that's like queer crochet group, and I'm like violently uninterested in joining it because I don't actually like being in large groups of other queer people a lot of the time. We have a lot of issues, right? And we disagree about a lot of shit that I think is fucking stupid, and we mean girl each other. AFAB versus AMAB, like, good fucking grief. I find that shit annoying, and we have a lot of trauma. So it can be hard to navigate working through that with people, especially when you're, like me, very, very far in your recovery from trauma. So, but I'm still going to show up for queer and trans people. Like, I'm still going to accept that we're going to have dumbass differences sometimes. And I'm going to try to leave that shit at the door. Like, I'm going to try not to focus up on that stuff. Hey, Charlotte, how's it going? Padfoot Sam says, I know how to use shock paddles. Make sure to learn them in first aid. Not all include that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, again, COVID is a cardiovascular disease, and heart attacks among people in our youngish age group are on the rise, so we should probably know how to resuscitate people and not just perform CPR until someone shows up. If someone doesn't show up before 10 minutes have gone by of you just doing CPR, that person is not going to live. Do we think we should do overviews going forward on the stream of like different skills that we should have? Like, should we go over the basics of Stop the Bleed and first aid and stuff? I don't know if that's going to be the kind of thing that retains viewers, but it's like, should we just cover shit like that? I don't know. Excuse me. Yeah, now is not the time to play. Do you have the right track with the grind you've been on? I've been having a crisis of what I should do with my content. Like, I am fucking tired of talking about this political stuff in the sense that, like, I'm fine with talking about it on stream, but then I don't want to spend the next 2 days editing and thumbnailing and SEO for that content. I want to spend my time thinking about creative stuff. I don't really want my channel to be like a trans resource anymore in that way. Like, I'm interested in talking about story and, you know, maybe when we do a politics thing, I want to go more in depth on it. So, and I'm having like a fairly related name crisis.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you again, Major Domo, for another $5 super chat. It says, splice in some skills that you think are handy. Maybe that's the kind of stuff that could go up on my second channel, One Oasis Left, because that's already like a survivalist skills channel. So if we go ahead and use that opportunity to talk about, have you done this? Have you gone down again? Why does it always do this? Okay, whatever. Yeah. Name crisis. Oh, like, you know when you're trans and you're trying to decide on a name? Like your name that you've been using for a while stops vibing. But yeah, I think if we talk about, maybe I should just make like proper first aid videos and go ahead and put them on the second channel. Yeah, but I don't want, Bixie, I don't want my channel to have stream content on it anymore like that. Like, I would rather it be a video essay channel and then on stream we talk about whatever. Anyway, yes, sorry. Thank you, Domo. Let me put this super chat in here. That puts us at 152 for today. I appreciate that. If we get to 300, I will open this little chest. I will open the little chest. I actually forgot what I put in here, so we will discover that together. Yay. Also, I can't afford an editor, to be totally clear. Moss is a pretty cool name and it feels right. Yeah. This one also has a cute little latch. Ooh. We're not there yet, though. Why so many boxes? We need an incentive for people to donate. Before, I was like flexing my biceps, but I haven't worked out in like 3 months, so I don't really think that's worth it anymore. Don't put the stuff in your essay videos. Yeah. Here's the plan for essays. I'm just going to take a brief moment here. We can get back to the politics in a second, but I'm currently working on my first video in the Dragon Review series, which is not really going to review a specific dragon, but it's going to talk about, okay, here's the concept, here's the criteria by which we're going to judge these dragons. We're going to talk really in depth about some of those, because I don't want every single dragon review video to have to go over the same things. Like, I want to be like, so if you want to get really in depth on this topic, check out the first video or whatever. Various things like flight physics and like the realistic biology of their bodies and things like this. I just don't want it to be super repetitive. So that's what the first dragon review video is. And then otherwise, here's some of the video essays ideas that I have right now. Talking about The Last of Us, how it presents capitalism versus communism in the post-apocalyptic environment. I want to talk about medieval peasants and like subsistence farming and industrialization. I want to have a video where we talk about, why do right-wingers not have burnout? Like, why do right-wingers just seem to keep going and going like the fucking Energizer Bunny? I want to do a retrospective on Unus Annus, which most of you probably do not know about. And I want to talk about A Song of Ice and Fire and how it is fundamentally an autistic story. And those are just like some initial ideas of some stuff that I want to start talking about, because I want to enjoy my channel. And I think that so many of you are so burned out. Obviously, today we're glued. Just our eyeballs are glued directly to the screen. But so many of you are so burned out, and I'm very sensitive to that because I am also burned out. Politics fucking sucks. I don't want to talk about it that much anymore. Like, I don't want that to be my main thing. I want to disengage sometimes. And, like, I'm gonna look at this shit in my free time anyway. What did you do for the resistance? I'm stockpiling porn to circulate once it's outlawed. Careful with them. They're a hero. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, to be clear, you don't need porn in order to masturbate, but, like, it helps. And the fact that it could be made illegal is fucking insane. Like, we need to start... Do we need to get, like, a printer and start printing out our nudes to then circulate them? Do I need to start, like, a magazine for my Fansly? Like, maybe, like, once a year, I publish a print copy of my all of the Fansly pictures I took for the year. That's super softcore. It's more of a playboy and less of a hustler. Pressing DVDs again. I haven't watched Fallout. Are you? I'm Padfoot. Do you mean Fallout the show? I haven't watched it yet. I think one reason why the right has so much energy is they think they will get into heaven by making the world a certain way. Don't necessarily disagree with you on that. Okay, I'm officially out of water. I have to fill that up in a minute. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours. I'm definitely so tired. I'm so tired. Yesterday was exhausting. The first half of the day, I didn't spend watching any election stuff, but I did reach out and contact several several property owners, and I was stressing about financial stuff, and then the election was all evening, and and then I didn't sleep well. I'm exhausted. The show is awesome in capturing the game's vibe. Nice. Because I haven't played The Last of Us either. That video would just be exclusively about the TV show. So I could watch the TV show of Fallout. I think there's better hope of the average white cis guy being politically motivated by having his porn banned than the well-being of any number of trans people. So, maybe that ban will be an own goal. Maybe. I mean, we can hope. Again, people tend to only care about... Excuse me. Oh my god. People tend to only care about politics when it directly impacts them. Not everybody, but a lot of people only care about politics when it directly impacts them. So, yeah, if you lose your porn, then maybe you will actually start to care. It's okay, so I live in Kansas, and we recently passed a law that you have to basically have an ID in order to access porn websites. But the porn websites have responded to that by just not functioning in Kansas. And having to use a VPN, I don't regularly use a VPN, and especially on my phone. It's so annoying having to use a VPN in order to access websites. As an interesting just side comment, I saw someone on Blue Sky saying that they were talking about the conversation around men don't care about abortion because they don't understand what's at stake. And they were saying I as a trans man have a hard time not intervening and saying yeah, I'm a man and I do understand what's at stake. And I was furthermore, cis men do understand what's at stake. That's why they kill their girlfriends more often when they have an unexpected pregnancy in states where abortion is restricted. Men do totally understand what's at stake in terms of having an unexpected child could ruin your life. That's why they kill their pregnant girlfriends. Welcome in, Giario. Nomadic says, I was up from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. yesterday. Don't do that to yourself. I'm going to emphatically state that y'all should not be doing that to yourselves. Jeez Louise. It was just cold in my house. That's why I didn't sleep well. I don't really think it actually had a lot to do with the election situation. I just was I just kept waking up because I was cold, and then I kept cuddling closer to my partner and not getting warm enough. The pro-abortion and pro-Trump vote splitting makes me think voters really are just dumbasses. I wonder if they just think, well, this won't, if he passes, they won't pass a federal ban, and even if they do, my local thing will still be, people tend to always think, well, it won't happen to me. If he were to threaten Social Security benefits, then my assumption is that that would lose him some of his older voters because his older voters are on SSI, but they're the type of people who will sit there and go like, well, surely he won't mess with my SSI. It can happen here, absolutely. What's up, Logan? We are decompressing from the election yesterday. We talked a little bit before about what happened, what led to the situation last night, and then we've spent a lot of time talking about what we can do in the future. And that's what I want people to walk away from this with. I want people to walk away from this going, yeah, no, we can succeed. We can do this. Oh, the chat has changed settings. So they weren't coming in order. Okay, I fixed it. Organize and unionize? Yeah. I wonder how unions are going to perform under this presidency. It's going to be interesting. Ooh, I feel like I need to stretch my chest out. Oh, man. The thing I'm worried about with Trump and our community is the threat to throttle Medicare to states providing trans care. It's one of those things that can make a state cave because we are only 1% of people, and a lot more than that are on Medicare. IDK, it's something he would have a hard time making happen, but who knows? Yeah, who fucking knows? That's a great question. That's a great question. I was like, that's how. Like, I've seen hospitals cave on this and stop, like in Texas, like stop providing trans care because their Medicaid funding was threatened. So that's a way to functionally make something illegal without directly making it illegal, and we have definitely talked about those slimy backdoor tactics before. There's been a big swell of union action recently. Hope they fight him hard. Me too. I hope they fight him hard. I signed up to help a local mutual aid group. Hell yeah, dude. The Medicaid thing is why I'm looking at top surgery and bottom ASAP. Yeah, and there is still state funding for those programs. Like, Oregon has a really robust public health service, and it's I'm sure partially funded by Medicaid, but it's a lot of it is state funding. That's why taxes are higher in blue states, because they actually provide services. Yawn. I'm gonna play World of Warcraft with my partner tonight. I should have made more robust plans last night to actually keep me distracted from the election. I should have watched a movie or something, but tonight, I'm just gonna spend time with my partner. We're gonna have a little wine. I have not made plans for dinner, so I don't know. We might just get some fast food or something. Just finished my letter for bottom surgery, hoping I can get it done before things get rough. Yeah. Much love and much luck to everyone out there who is going and pursuing surgery. I feel like I need to buy a house before I can think about getting bottom surgery. Like, that is so far off in my future that I haven't really started to properly think about it. And if it becomes illegal, then yeah, I'm gonna die feeling kind of incomplete. But Washington Republicans overwhelmingly voted to keep our capital gains tax. It's just so inconsistent. I was talking with one of my suppliers, and they mentioned a shortage of saline due to the last hurricane. Apparently, saline is manufactured in Florida. There is a predicted shortage. I, yeah, it's like IVs are, there's like a shortage of IV fluids. Is that just saline because of the hurricanes? Bottom surgery is such a huge step with a lot of downtime and a long, long wait time. Yeah, and for you trans femmes out there, y'all, at least for the most part, get to do one big surgery and then don't have to deal with it. Having a dick constructed, it's like, oh, you have the initial penis surgery, and then you have to have the erectile device put in later after you're fully healed. Oh, and that's after you get a, like, partial surgery stage. It's not like a full intense surgery, but where they create the, like, head of the penis. So for me, bottom surgery is at least 3 stages, and that's assuming that there's no complication. That's like 3 full 6-week healing periods, assuming no complications. So yeah. Not to mention the wait lists. I'm in Louisiana and found out today that my job, which is a local blood bank, is run by Trump supporters. Are we really surprised, though? I just learned the word Salmation earlier today in a box. That's what I would be. I would be... because I would not get rid of my genitals that I was born with. Salmation is when you want to have both genitals, or like a non-binary genital configuration. Like typically for trans men, they do vaginectomy and then put in the penis. But like, yeah, sometimes you can have both. Word is on the street that since there's a saline shortage, only necessary surgical procedures will be allowed for quite a bit. It's delayed wait times. Great. I'd like to see someone knowledgeable explain what the process would look like if federal Medicare guidelines from Trump end up conflicting with states like Oregon and Washington, which have explicit constitutional protections for trans health care. Like, I assume that goes to courts for however long it takes for that to eventually reach the Supreme Court. That's kind of my assumption, Silent. And I was saying it earlier with regards to abortion. Like, the state constitution in Kansas says I have the right to an abortion. So if there's a national abortion ban, whether it's a 6-week ban or a 14-week ban or an outright ban, in any case, like, what does that conflict look like? And that's like if Oregon and Washington have constitutional protections for trans health care, what is that going to look like? It's going to be a long court battle, essentially. It's going to be like, okay, well, does legislation that passes supersede the state constitutions? And I think that could be something that spurs, like, states leaving the union, or like how are they going to enforce this if Oregon and Washington decide we're going to continue to provide trans health care and fuck you, I don't care what you tell, like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me? Then what are they going to send in the military? Like, what are they going to do? It looks like the weed thing in Oregon. I mean, yeah, and I mentioned that earlier, that states have legalized cannabis, but the feds mostly are hands-off, with occasional DEA raids, mostly against black-owned businesses. We should hope for a very long court battle to provide more time for trans people to get their surgeries. Yeah, we can hope for injunctions. Like injunctions which say you can't enforce this law until we finish going over this in the courts. I didn't know that you can get both. Yeah, you can get both either way. If you started with a penis, you can get penile preserving vaginoplasty, so you can do a peritoneal pull-through method, which preserves the penis. And if you were born with a vagina, you can have a skin graft and create a penis and balls and still have a vagina. It's crazy. The possibilities are endless. My eyeball. Y'all, I don't have any idea how long stream is going to be today. I typically go 4 hours. I started almost 2 hours early. I don't know. I was thinking I would go until 6:30, but it fucking depends. I think the court battle for human rights is why Trump electing the next two Supreme Court nominations is such an issue. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be hilarious if Biden right at the end here like descheduled cannabis and expanded the court and put in term limits? Like Biden could just like I was okay, the graphic thing that occurred to me, I'm not going to say that. He could just fuck everything up right before he leaves. He doesn't have to worry about re-election. He doesn't have to worry about the reputation of the Democratic Party. Who fucking cares? The strategy of winning civil rights through the Supreme Court is dead for a generation now. I mean, yeah, it's been fucked for a while. Biden should resign. Ruin 47 merch. I mean, yeah, that would just be for the petty reason. I kind of made a joke, Kitty Tick, yesterday while I was on the Dead Domain podcast show. Not really podcast. I was on Dead Domain's stream, and Rosa from the Composting podcast was on there, and I joked that, like, like, Rosa lives in New York, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm moving to the wrong coast. And she was like, no, when the coastal wars happen, you're going to be on the opposite side. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be part of the Republic of California. Like, if the West Coast broke off into its own thing, you know it would be called, like, the Great Republic of California or some stupid shit like that. The whole West Coast is still counting votes. California is only at 54%. What if Kamala ends up with way more votes than Trump when he has the Electoral College? I mean, then it will be the exact same that's happened every other fucking time a Republican has won in the last 20 years, John Bainbridge, that I mean, he's just going to have the electoral vote and having lost the popular vote. Although the disparity is so big that I don't think that she's going to overcome that difference. But I mean, it would just continue to prove that if we actually cared about what the people think and not what, like, states think as a concept of chunks of people. Like, in every state that goes hard blue or hard red, almost 50% of the people in those states are disenfranchised voters. Like, as a Democratic voter in Kansas, I'm a disenfranchised voter. Fully half, or I guess in Kansas it's a little bit less than half. In lots of states, it's so close. It's like a 3-point difference. You're at like 48% and 51%. So many voters. It just doesn't matter at all. The West Coast breaking off would be called Cascadia. Hey! Cascadia forever. Whatever happens next, I hope Biden knows it's his fault. I hope that dude... I was gonna say... Well, okay. Let me just revise that. I think that Biden is probably not going to live long enough to really feel the burden of his failures. Although I guess in that regard, I hope he lives a good long time. Cascadia could protect Oregon from Greater Ohio, from Greater Idaho. I have seen some stuff talking about that, like Idaho is like infiltrating Oregon weirdly. At the very, yeah, agreed, Kitty Tick. At the very minimum, if we're going to have an electoral college, the whole winner takes all thing is like mind-numbingly stupid. It's so mind-numbingly stupid that I almost dropped a slur just now. Like, Nebraska and Maine, I think, both have a system by which the electoral votes are distributed by district instead of the whole state. But it's like, why shouldn't it be that the Democrats get like a quarter of the votes in like the deep red states? Why not? Well, because Republicans would never fucking win. That's why. The system is designed so that Republicans can still win. They wouldn't win if it wasn't this way. If we went by the popular vote or if we had a district distribution, they would never win. Are you still doing your homesteading videos? The FDA is going to get screwed heavily. So the plan is yes. I just don't have a lot of updates to do on that regard right now. I could do another little time-lapse video of me cleaning up my garden plot because it's getting to be about that time of year that I need to rip out all my old plants. I'm not going to plant there again next year. It just seems like it would be polite for the next person who wants to use that plot if I remove the plants and clean it up and everything. So that's kind of the last thing that I'm going to do in the garden this year. And then one of my husband's coworkers actually offered to take me rabbit hunting. So I might do some content about rabbit hunting. And then when we move, it's going to be 6 months before I can get a hunting license again, which is fucking irritating. But yeah, for the purposes of getting a hunting license, you have to be a resident of the state for 6 months. So I'm going to have to wait basically until next winter to go hunting rabbits again. I mean, you can, I don't know, I guess I don't know what the season is like up there if they allow summertime, but people typically don't recommend hunting rabbits in the summer because they have way more fleas and ticks and you can contract tularemia and also bot flies in the flesh of the rabbits. So yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm probably going to have more garden content next year because I'm going to do my best to get another community garden plot. And I think it will be bigger than the one that I had this year. So I should have more production. And I'm going to bring all my compost with me. So it'll hopefully grow lots of good food. I've got seeds saved up from this year. I wonder if they changed from the Electoral College to House/Senate all voting. Thus, it would end up being by district. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you could do this. You could also just have fucking ranked choice voting, and that would make a difference. But every state has to update their laws. This is not something that we can do federally, I don't think. I don't think on the federal level they can be like, we've decided we're going to abolish the Electoral College. I think that has to happen state by state. So we have to push. This is another reason why local elections make a difference. You can push locally for these changes. Start your home libraries. Find the rattiest looking used bookstore in your area, the one that smells like an old smoker's house. Books are like 50 cents on the high end, and you can find so many books on canning and other old world living. I have this dope book on underground home construction I got for 15 cents. Nice. I have the Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It by John Seymour. I have the Encyclopedia of Country Living, 50th Anniversary Edition. Whoa. Hey, thank you, Rainus Raider, for becoming another member on YouTube. I don't have very many members on YouTube. Thank you for becoming the second. There's all kinds of vaguely Patreon-like benefits to joining on that, so thank you very much. I should post my first members-only video sometime soon. Should still be able to get an out-of-state hunting license. Yeah, they cost like 5 times as much money. Like, they cost so much more money. And you also understand that when you move to a new state, you have to get your car registration redone. You have to get a new driver's license. So my partner and I both have to get a new driver's license. And that's after having just spent thousands of dollars on actually moving all of our shit across the country. I can't really have any extra expenses next year. Yeah, you're right, Kitty Tick. So it's a state by state thing as far as where the electoral votes go. Nebraska voted to change it to it's split. So, like, I think one or two of the electoral votes from Nebraska went to Kamala last night. Uh, and recently they tried to, the Republicans in the state of Nebraska tried to change that to go back to the all or nothing system. And the voters rejected that. It's like, why would we do that? So, but that's the thing is like, yeah, Biden can't change that. He can't abolish the electoral college before he leaves office. That's something that you and I have to do. Like you and I on the local level have to campaign to change the electoral college, to change to a ranked choice voting system. If you don't know what ranked choice is, it's just like if your first choice is Jill Stein and your second choice is Kamala Harris, you can vote for Jill Stein. And then if she doesn't get a greater portion of the vote enough to actually elect her, then your vote kicks over to Kamala Harris, right? That's what it is. Oh, nice, Rainus. Cool, cool. He should relieve student debt before he leaves. Yeah, any of that shit, he should just do it. I need to get my sister-in-law to apply for an owner's property tag. We could hunt elk or deer, and her property plot is big enough to apply. I'm 12 acres short, sadly. What is it? Can you tell me what the acreage is? I need to know this because I want to be able to hunt on my own land. What's the required acreage? I'm probably going to have, like, ideally, I want enough land that some of it can still be wild. Did any states vote to change how they do elections? Not this year, I don't think. It's 40 acres. Bet. We can probably get a 40-acre chunk somewhere. Ranked choice is more likely than abolishing the electoral college, but faces a similar hurts Republicans problem. Yeah, you just have to create pressure for it. Some old 40 acres and a mule law, I'm sure. Yeah. I think there are some mutual aid groups helping people to move. Yeah, I haven't been involved in a long time, and I am in like 800 million Discord servers, so I haven't actually seen, I haven't actually checked it out in a while, but rainbowpassage.org is an organization that I've worked with and supported in the past that, I seem to not be in the Discord server anymore, as far as I can see. So I don't know if they dissolved or if I just am not in the Discord server anymore. I'm curious about that, actually. But yeah, there are mutual aid groups working on... Hi, Amberly. Hello. We're just talking about the election and what our plans are going forward. I think Oregon was voting on whether or not to do ranked choice, but I think they voted against, unfortunately. Well, that means we could get it on the ballot again. Like, we could push it. Oh, the Electoral College is in the Constitution, so it would take an amendment to abolish it. Very difficult to do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like, you would have to try to decide on a state-by-state basis how you're going to do that. I think that, I want to say it was either Michigan or Wisconsin did abolish the Electoral College in the sense that, well, I thought they did. Wait, I don't remember. Shit. That was from way back in the day when I watched Peter Coffin before I realized how much of a shitbag they were. It's hard to keep up with every single fucking thing. Look around Winston, Oregon. It's near Roseburg and has low land prices. Roseburg might be a decent landing city for you too. Maybe look into it. I'll consider looking into it. we've looked at a couple of different places, and the thing is that we need to move somewhere that's large enough that my partner is going to be able to find a job. So for him as a tradesman, it's like if there's no place hiring, then he's going to have to become a subcontractor, and therefore he needs to live near where people live so that he can get work without having to like commute an hour. But I'll look into Roseburg. I'll see what's up with it. Whoever gets the electoral is my understanding here in Michigan. Yeah, but that's also true everywhere else. Like I think that's how the electoral stuff works, right? Is like if you get the popular vote, then you get all of them. Guys, yeah, the thing is that I'm not going to buy land as soon as I get up there. My partner needs to get a job, and then we can figure out like, okay, well then we're going to move his job to somewhere else. And also like you can be 15 minutes away from the city proper and still get 40 acres of land, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is the thing, is like this is the precarity of my situation. I'm going to try to find some kind of landlord situation where they will let us move in and give us a couple months grace, or like we would need to give them 2 months rent or whatever, because my partner is going to have to start finding a job as soon as we move there. So when we initially, it's just that we need a landing spot initially that is populous enough, like has a big enough populace that he can easily find a place to work. And then we can start making steps of like, okay, well, if we move to this place, then, you know, you can get a different job there, but then we'll be close enough that he could take interviews and get a job, and then we can move to that other location. You know what I mean? Like, this is the difficulty with moving across the country. In Roseburg, there is a Costco, and the city itself has 23,000 people. Lots of rural people nearby and small towns next to it, like Winston. Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about a couple of different options. I guess I don't know what makes Roseburg a decent landing city. Other than like, okay, it has low land prices. Like, okay, I can look into it when I'm ready to buy land, but doesn't really make sense for me to look into it initially. I'm like, either it's going to be like the Portland suburbs or Eugene or Salem, because those are kind of the big cities in that area. And like there's a lot of little cities throughout the whole thing, but we're probably going to try to move to like one of the fairly bigger areas, at least initially, and then kind of figure things out from there. Someplace that has lots of options for housing, and someplace that's going to be like close enough to where he can get a job. Fuck, I'm here and I need a job. Yeah. My partner has a skilled trade, so it's easier in some ways for him to find a job, although he might still just have to become a subcontractor and then start networking and getting word of mouth out about what a good job he does. It's like, it's going to be precarious. Moving across the country is not easy. And I hope that when we get... Oh, really? Roseburg is the fourth biggest city? Is it like just behind Portland, Eugene, and Salem? I want to look this up really quick. Where even is Roseburg? It's Portland and then Eugene and then Salem and then Roseburg. Give me a map. I want to see it. I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map. Oh my god, that's so much further south than I was hoping to live. Oh yeah, that's way further south than I want to live. I want to live much closer to Washington than that. Okay, y'all, I need to go pee so badly, and I also need to refill my water. So I'm gonna pull up some music for you, and then we can continue. Let me see. Let me find some music. I haven't. There's a lot of songs in here that I haven't listened to in a long time, so I'm just gonna kind of guess which one of these is gonna be appealing. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave you with some fucking weird pirate shit real quick. And then this one. Okay. All right. I'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I hope that this has provided some kind of relief for you. So, all right, back soon. All right, I'm canceling the music. I'm not gonna let that song finish. Kickstarter background music. True. Yeah, that was What Do You Do with a Drunken Sailor Early in the Morning. Yay. Major Domo has decided to just start DMing this situation, saying, "So, as we begin our adventure, you find yourself deep in the hull of a ship. You hear shouts from above, chaos. Can't quite make the words out." Fun. To me, this is normal pirate shit. Throw up the horns for us Ren Fair fucking nerds. Yummy. Water's so good for you, babes. Yeah, Wokelib has canceled music. It's true. This makes me want to sail away with some ragtag group of trans people living off the sea and what alliances we strike at ports across the globe. Better be prepared to trade for some oranges. Be prepared to trade for some oranges, my loves. What do you do with a drunken sailor? You put it in your butthole. I don't know. I'm fucking losing it at this point. It's only been 2.5 hours, and I feel like I'm losing it. Anyway, what else is there to talk about with regards to the election? Is there anything we haven't covered so far? Oh my goodness. Anyone play Raft? I feel like that's our future. I've heard of Raft, but I haven't played it myself. I'm more of a lime girl. Are you just gonna straight up eat the limes, or are you saying you're a tequila girl? No, I haven't seen One Piece. Let's see what's on Twitter. Are there any takes on Twitter that we need to talk about? Yo, Neb. Oh, there's some people who are just joining. Hey, thank you so much for joining. So we've been talking about all kinds of stuff with the election. We talked about what are some contributing factors that made things go down the way that they did last night. We've talked about what are some things that we want to do in the future. And one of the messages that I want to continue to convey to you all is that moving forward, the only way to move forward is to assume that things are going to go as bad as they possibly can, plan for that, and support each other. That's the thing. That's the thing we're going to do. We're going to stay alive. We're not going to kill ourselves. We're not going to drink ourselves to death. We're not going to smoke 2 packs a day, you know. We're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to get proper sleep. We're going to moisturize. And we're going to help each other. That's what's required. Fun news, I officially can't compete in the Women's Olympics because of naturally high T. Yay! Oh god, that's so fucking stupid. You've just got too much power in your sports performance, I guess. Just gonna dunk on everybody. Yes, prepare to defend your communities. Join mutual aid networks. Take a first aid class. Take a stop the bleed course. Train yourself on how to use a weapon. Me and my wife gonna get some rifles soon, I hope, and she will teach me how to spin it, and we're gonna do leftist gun content. Hell yes, dude. Hello, Milena. Have you slept since this morning when we spoke last? I hope so. If not, I command you to go to bed. I love bringing this up to any transphobe now. Yeah, you're like I was born female and I have just naturally high T and like I'm not allowed to perform at the Olympics now for some fuck ass reason. Loving the extra T for my beard. I've wondered that before, Amber Lee. I was like, are you on T already? Nope. Just naturally high T. Can you make a video on the quick and dirty basics of prep? What do you mean by prep? Prep? I slept for like 4 hours. Okay, that's acceptable. Yeah, learn to maintain your guns and blades. Listen. Mineral oil, okay? Mineral oil. I also need to have my partner teach me how to sharpen this blade because I have a sharpener for my kitchen knives, but it's not really for a dagger like this. It's got hair on it, stuck to the oil. Anyway. I also need to oil my gun. I don't think I really need to. Well, I've probably shot enough rounds through it that I should take it apart and like clean it. But I could just oil it and probably get another couple hundred rounds out of it before it becomes an issue. I wish people would pick a lane on trans athletes. Trans women have an advantage and women can do anything a man can. Yeah. Okay, so by quick and dirty basics of prep, you mean first aid, stop the bleed classes, basics of knives, and knife maintenance for utility reasons. Yeah. Can you clean a rifle on air or is that insta demonetized? Currently, the rules are that you cannot show a gun on a live stream. So I could make a video and post that on my second channel, but you cannot show a gun at all on a live stream. I think it's partially because they feel like that's an area where they can't live check what you're doing. Do you know how to use a sharpening stone? The dagger can be sharpened very similar to a kitchen knife. I mean, I have like a thing, I haven't used it yet. My partner got it for me, that like it clamps to the side of a table or a counter, and you put a stone on this like arm that moves, and you kind of clamp the knife in place. But this blade is so small that I don't think I could use that. But I don't know. Maybe I'll make my partner actually help me set up the sharpener. I don't really want to use a knife sharpener in the kitchen. Hands up if you're not really enthusiastic about the idea of metal shavings in your food area. You know? I don't know what a zip gun is. Yes, shock paddles, learn how to use them. Get a set of shock paddles. I'd be curious to see gun content. Well, guys, guns cost lots of money, and for now, I have a, the dagger and weapon talk is making me anxious. Oh, sorry, it's just a tool. Sorry. Like, I view them very differently. But yeah, so right now I have a pistol and that's it. Like, I don't have a hunting gun. I just have a handgun. So I don't know how much value there's going to be in that. But sure, yeah, if you want me to do gun content from a queer perspective, that's fine. What if I want my food with extra iron? Yeah. In culinary school, we had a designated sharpening spot. Yeah, I feel like I want my knife sharpening area to not be in my kitchen. What do you think will happen to gender-affirming care for minors in red states? I live in Kansas, and I'm hoping I will still be able to get it even if Trump is president. So, Aikiko Moria, your comment. They tried to pass legislation harming trans minors in Kansas, and they did not succeed because basically community members came and talked to the legislators and were like, hey, this would really negatively impact our family. Can you please not do this? Okay, thanks. So it seems like it's going to depend on which red state you live in, although we are about to see a Supreme Court case sometime between now and June where they're going to talk about whether trans people have the right to equal protection under the law, specifically as it relates to, like, can you make puberty blockers legal for cis kids for precocious puberty, but illegal for trans kids? So we're going to get a Supreme Court case that's basically going to say, is it okay for red states to deny gender-affirming care for minors? And I'm assuming that they're going to say it's a state-by-state basis, so it literally depends on what state you live in. But if you live in Kansas, they tried to pass the law and they did not succeed. So I'm assuming that it will remain that way in Kansas, but I wouldn't bank on that, which is why I'm moving out of Kansas. And that negatively impacted someone I love and care about who was a minor at the time and was trying to get gender-affirming care. Sharpener dust is small enough to be inert, like eating sand isn't harmful. Okay. My internet exploded again. What happened? We started talking about knives and guns. That's what happened. You should be sharpening it with water or oil anyways, and also wiping everything down afterwards. All the swarf should end up on the towel. But, like, doesn't some of it, like, I guess you're saying if you're using oil, then it, like, none of it flakes off into the air? Is that basically what we're saying? Are community armories legal? I don't actually know. That's a great question. I know nothing of guns, but I've always wanted to learn. Okay, here's your first time learning anything about guns. 4 rules. 4 cardinal rules that you are never allowed to break. Are you ready for Gun 101? Are we ready? Here's the thing. Number 1. Treat every gun as if it's loaded at all times. Even if you know that you unloaded it, even if you double, triple, quadruple checked, treat every gun as if it's loaded at all times. That's number 1. Number 2, control the muzzle. Never point the gun at something that you don't intend to destroy, right? Number 3 is always know what's in front of and behind your target. And oh shit, I always end up getting to the 4th one and I forget what the 4th rule is. Cuz there's 4. What is the last one? Oh dang, I always do this. I know the rules, I just always forget which one right at the end. Community armories are legal as long as weapons are legally registered. Cool, okay. I don't know a lot about community armories or the concept of them. I always do this. I get 3 of them and then I blank on the 4th one. Somebody help me with this. Number 4, don't fuck around and find out. True. I technically own a 22, but I've never fired it. I'd rather use a bow myself. I love 22s. 22s are cute. They're so small. I actually fired a 25 recently, and it was hilarious how tiny that thing was. Treat all guns as if they're loaded. I got that one. That was rule number 1. Always treat the gun as if it's loaded. Never point it at any... Oh, keep your finger off the trigger unless you are intending to shoot imminently. Finger off the trigger. That's why you see people doing this. Like with this is their trigger finger, right? And this is the gun. They'll put their trigger finger, it's like over here. It's outside the trigger guard. And then when you're ready to shoot, you go in and you go kiki, kiki. But otherwise, don't put your finger on the trigger. Number 4, no guns are cute. That's objectively not true. Yeah, you got me, Nomadic. You got me. You usually forget to mention the gun is always loaded, so I can't remember this time either. Yeah. What is the premise of community armories? Is that like anybody can go like rent the gun or... Messaging on trigger discipline got good enough that we started getting movie posters of people shooting guns, full muzzle flare and everything, but the actor doesn't have their finger on the trigger. Hey! No guns are cute. Someone hasn't seen Moss Flex. True. I feel like my arms are so unimpressive right now. Like, genuinely. I wasn't working out during fair, and then I got fucking COVID, and I'm, like, not allowed to exercise for several more weeks. And I have to start out gently anyway. Ugh. That's another one of those things. Like, today I'm galvanized to fucking hit my goals. I'm gonna train with my gun. I'm gonna, like, look into taking all these classes that I keep mentioning. First aid, stop the bleed, potentially martial arts classes. And I'm looking forward to exercising because I personally think that if you look physically intimidating, people are less likely to fuck with you. So it's like, the shoulders are going to be one of the main things that I target when I'm allowed to work out again. It's going to be shoulder raises all day because I want to look physically imposing, and I feel like shoulders are one of the best ways to do that. Like shoulders, biceps, lats, and like, I mean, yeah, lats are on your back. Like the back, the shoulders, and the chest. No, don't be sad and depressed. Don't be sad and depressed today. Just because Trump won doesn't mean that everything is over. All is not lost, my friends. All is not lost. Pick a strategy and stick to it. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your community. You can do it. I promise you. Yes, gonna get beefed up. That's the idea. Lux intimidating? Y'all don't think I'm intimidating? Wow. People in high school thought I was super intimidating. Yes, nomadic. Yes. I'm quitting smoking, joining a gym, and joining a mutual aid network. Fuck yes. Wear a mask at the gym. Do it. Yes, we still have a couple of months before Trump takes power. There could be challenges. There could be an assassination attempt. We don't know. Lots of things can still change between now and then. And then, even when or if Trump gets into office, that doesn't mean that the world is over. We can still provide for each other. We can still love each other. I'm getting a weight bench and a couple of dumbbells. Yes, you guys. This is the energy that I want to see for the next couple of years. I want to see y'all focusing on those improvement skills. I want to see y'all giving yourself goals and attaining those goals. Lux intimidating is not on my checklist. Well, maybe that's disarming. Maybe if people don't think I'm intimidating, then the fact that I'm carrying will be a surprise. Maybe. Maybe me being such a sweetheart will prevent anyone from trying to fuck with me. Maybe my neighbors will be more likely to intervene if the Gestapo comes and like tries to capture me out of my home or whatever, V for Vendetta style. Biggest thing I'm scared of is losing my HRT. Are you on estrogen, little robot fairy? Because if you are on estrogen, you can just order your shit online. It's not that difficult. I got a chin-up bar a few years ago only to find out I couldn't do a chin-up anymore, but I can now. Yes! Thank you, absolutely. That's what I want to hear. I have a pull-up bar. My upper body is the weakest, obviously. Like my legs and... I don't know, I feel like... I guess it just depends on what you work. The more you practice, whichever area you focus on, the stronger you're going to get. My overhead is what is missing for the most part. I'm also heavier than I have ever been, though. So I think if I start to, like, lose weight, it might be easier to do pull-ups, probably. One of my IRL... Where can I buy my Feminems online? There are... If you just go to Twitter and search DIY HRT, I'm sure you will find lots of resources. Yes. I'm excited. I'm hopeful for the future. I don't think that this in any way means, like, oh, the world is going to end. Like, no, the world's not going to end. Every 4 years, everybody thinks the world is going to end. Just got a New Year's supply of E about a month ago and seriously considering stocking up even more now. Yeah, I mean, why not? If you're being prescribed more than you're taking, then it's still legally prescribed to you. Or if you, in the case of estrogen, it's kind of in that legal gray area where you can just buy it. But listen, everybody, listen, every critter, it's gonna be okay. Oh my god, why are there gnats in here? Do I have gnats in my house again after the fucking pumpkins? I think that's what it was. Get out of here. Yep. Who knows why everything happened the way it did last night? We are going to be okay. Emphatically. Every pony, yes. Every pony is going to be okay. The world may not end, but I have a feeling my state is going to make me illegal to exist. I mean, That's a possibility. There's a reason why I'm moving. Again, I'm gonna be like trying to help my friends move. Like we were like on Facebook, like, do any of my friends want to move with us? Let's go. Let's fucking go. Oh, that's cool. Artemis says, I'm learning to hunt with a bow like my namesake, and working in a blood bank has taught me so much about blood health and what products work best slash worst for what injuries. I will be a trans field med. That's awesome. That's very exciting. I also have a bow and have attempted to hunt with it. And that is, you know, if I go hunting this winter, definitely going to do it with my bow because I don't have a rifle. So there's not really anything I could hunt rabbits with otherwise. I wish I could. Listen, when it comes to this situation, it's like, if you're like, I'm worried that they're going to make me illegal, then it becomes a question of like, what do I need to sacrifice to get there? You know, we are refugees. Those of us who are fleeing red states, like, we are refugees. Keeping all of your belongings is an insane privilege. Like, sell shit, give shit away, save up money, start a GoFundMe, I'll contribute. Don't know where you're heading, but I'm considering Virginia. I'm going up northwest. Kitty suggests also checking local laws and your lease to see if you're allowed to put a vertical garden in your house. LED lights and just a little learning curve can save you a ton of money on produce, allowing you to buy better quality other ingredients for your food. Yeah, my personal opinion is that there will always be food in the grocery store, even with climate change and global supply chain disruptions. It's just a matter of like, how expensive is that food, and I guess how much of it there is. So yeah, if I can grow tomatoes and Brussels sprouts, and like if I have chickens and then occasionally I go buy beef at the store that's outrageously expensive or something because cattle keep dying every summer or whatever, then you can still have a fairly balanced diet, and you can still rely somewhat on what's in the grocery store, but you can supplement that. And yeah, like vertical gardening, you can garden inside an apartment. It just depends on what your lease says for the most part. And yeah, LED lights are very energy efficient, and they're what plants crave. You can also start a lot of your garden from produce you already bought. Don't tell anyone, but I bought some heirloom tomatoes at the farmer's market this year, and I kept the seeds. So, yeah. Speaking of GoFundMe, how is Mama Mephistopheles doing? I just saw that she posted last night on Twitter. Mama Mephistopheles, come on. I don't remember what her name is on Twitter. So maybe I'm not going to be able to just find it really quick. I'm not sure how her GoFundMe is doing. I intended to pitch in like $20 and I haven't done that. I've shared it several times. Apparently quail is more economic than chicken to raise. I have not heard that. Although, and like quail tastes different and the eggs are smaller. So maybe a little bit of both. But it depends on what, I guess quail could be your meat birds, and then chicken could be your egg birds. Eat fish. Fish are so underrated and affordable. Hell yeah. Get a fishing license. It's not that expensive. Buy a $20 fishing rod. Also not that expensive. And then you're saving money on food. Or you can do an aquaponics garden where you have the fish growing and they poop in the water, and then the plants get nutrition from the poop in the water. The only bird I don't recommend is ducks. I loved my ducks, but they're so messy. I've never thought about owning ducks. I've considered getting a couple of geese to live on my pond, because they would act as another form of security on my land. But I hear duck is really greasy for the meat. The eggs are bigger, but they also taste weird. One time someone served me scrambled eggs and I thought that maybe they were trying to poison me, and then it turned out that it was duck eggs and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, it's definitely egg, but it's like weird and different." Pretty Nosferatu says, "Hey everyone, is this where we cry?" Or, listen, I cried a little bit this morning, and then my resolve hardened like iron, tempered by the trials and tribulations. If you need to take a minute to cry, you can do that. No one's going to hold it against you. But what we're here for right now is solid plans for the future. I got to try alligator recently. Wow, that's fascinating. Snake apparently tastes like fish and chicken combined. Donkeys apparently are great guard animals for herds. Cool. I was kind of thinking about getting a couple of really big dogs because there are bears in the part of the country that I'm about to move to. Bears and mountain lions, actually. So you need a couple of big dogs. Higher levels of cholesterol in the duck eggs. Interestingly, eating cholesterol doesn't actually raise your blood cholesterol, interestingly enough. The stuff that raises your blood cholesterol as a human person is when you eat fatty foods. Geese do not fuck around. The only thing that geese fear is swans. Granny Smith apples grow well from seed because they have a natural sour flavor. Cool. I had to write today and couldn't get into the mentality. So, listen, okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. My plan for this week, I have a planner. Where is it? I think I put it on the floor. Yeah, it's on the floor down here. I have a planner, like a week planner. And my intention was to write yesterday, all day write yesterday, and film my next video today. Girl, that did not happen. Like, I was supposed to be working on my next video essay, and it just didn't work out that way. I did a lot of other stuff. Today I didn't quite do as much as I wanted to do. That's why stream started so early, was because I was like, I'm not getting anything accomplished right now. So let's just start streaming. But just because it's hard to focus on some things doesn't mean that, like, we're going to give up and despair. Ooh, Gayfesh, that's a really good tip. Thank you for transmitting that. Some good advice for trans folk is to ask your healthcare provider if you can discreetly have your diagnosis or justification for gender dysphoria changed to hormonal disorder not otherwise specified, since odds are good that the FDA is going to ban gender affirming care even for adults. Hey, that's a good call. Whatever you can do to work around things. Geese versus bear. Geese win 9 times out of 10. Love that. I love the confirmation that I should have geese. Newfoundlands are great herd and animal protectors. They are easy to raise in with your animals, and they are just tanks. A Newfoundland. I was thinking like Pyrenees. Newfoundland. What do they look like? Dog. Oh, those boys. Oh, those big fluffy boys. I also kind of like Pyrenees because Pyrenees don't really give a shit about you. Like, they're not trying to be your friend. I'm like, you're an outside dog. You're a dog for protecting my chickens. Yes, we all deserve a bit of slack. None of us are sleeping well this week. You know, all of us are stressed. I'm trying to apply to apartments, and I'm about to start, like, funneling a bunch of money into that. So, yeah, listen, give yourself a moment. If you need to cry, cry a little bit, but then get your shit together by, like, Monday. You know, take, like, a good chunk of a week to mourn what you thought this country could be, and then let's keep things moving. Let's keep things, you know, going. I know, me too, Drea. Cannot wait to get out there. I'm getting excited for it. Obviously, like I'm leaving a place that I love and I've called home for 30 years of my life, and that's very sad. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good time. Newfoundlands tend to overheat at our comfortable temperatures inside, so they hate coming in usually. But it also does get kind of hot in Northwest Oregon during the summer. Y'all do have 90-degree weather up there. It gets cooler at night, but y'all do have 90-degree weather. So you'd have to keep the dogs shaved during the summer or something.
Today,
Nope. Shush, shush, shush. Oh my goodness. Look at this fucking unit. Oh my god, look at him. He's so big. Oh my gosh. He's so fluffy. Majestic. Oh my god. That's a 5-year-old Caucasian Shepherd. Whoa. A big boy. He's just gonna be loud enough, like so like loud and resonant quality in the chest that bears would just run away. So sad. Later, Major Domo. Have a good night. Why are you so big? Oh my god. Wow. Impressive. True bean cream between. Bean cream tween. If you need to cry a little bit, then get your shit together by Monday. Universally applicable advice for surviving capitalism. Truly. Truly. Listen, y'all don't have to apologize. Today, if there's any day that you're allowed to call off work and eat an entire tub of ice cream, it's yesterday and today, all right? You're fine. If you need to fucking collapse today, I give you permission to do that. And then make a plan and get your shit together by Monday. A goose could take him. Ah! Geese have this thing, like any flighted animal, basically. They have this thing where they can make themselves look much bigger with the wings and the flapping. It's very scary. The wings and the flapping is very like, ah! Ouch. Just hurt my shoulder. If you dig a doghouse that's partially underground, they can keep themselves cool. That's good. I'm eating an entire container of tortellini. Yeah, I think that counts. That's a comfort food. I keep hurting my shoulders. I definitely need... I do that thing with my connective tissues where it's like I need to have strong muscles because my muscles hold my body together. Guard emus? Yeah, let me just port in some emus. See, I feel like if a goose tried to stunt on me, I could put down a goose. But I feel like an emu, we're entering a territory where I don't feel confident that if they decided they were going to come at me, I could, like, realistically handle that. Just be glad we don't have non-avian dinos anymore. Yeah. Part of my research for the Dragon Review series has been learning about flighted animals like pterodactyls and like pterosaurs and presently living large dino birds. So a goose can easily break an arm with their wings and pierce deep with their beaks. They're dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm gonna play around with a goose. How do they break an arm with their wing? They have a strong enough beat of their wings that they can, like, if they contact your arm, they could break it? That seems kind of insane. I know a guy who knows a guy with the emu hookup. Just shoot me a telegram. Sure, yeah, let me just put a note down for that. Posted a picture. Ooh, pictures in the Discord. Wait, where is it? Is it in stream recommendations? Who is texting me? Why are all these people texting me? Oh, it's Surus. Okay, I was like, what? Stream chat. Okay, I see. Big dog. Big dog. Yes. See, I like this guy. He's got like short fur, which makes me feel like he won't get overheated in the summer. But also, I guess he might get a little bit cold during the winter. But also, it doesn't get severely cold in your part of the world in the winter. That's one of the nice things about being in the Pacific Northwest in the winter is that it's just kind of like rainy. Yes, emus can fuck you up with their feet. They have these like claws. Yes, pterodactyls are not dinosaurs. Pterosaurs are a different evolutionary chain that they do have a common ancestor with dinosaurs, but it's way back. They are not dinosaurs. How do you feel about farm cats? Badly. I think I would rather get a terrier or something along those lines than a farm cat because cats do like devastating ecological damage. I know the idea is to keep rats and stuff away from your food stores and everything, and they are good at that, but they also catch birds for fun. So farm cats are a no-no. Get a terrier or a dachshund or something like that that's around the same size that can hunt rats. But no, we don't do cats. We don't do cats on the farmstead. Nope. Cats are for inside. Cats are inside friends. They live the life of luxury. They're big fat boys. We don't have farm cats. Cassowaries are scarier too. Aren't cassowaries the ones that lumber along the ground like absolute freaks? Oh, no, it's not. This is not what I was thinking of. But yeah, cassowaries. Look at how thick those legs are and how big those fucking meaty paws. Not even just one cat. No farm cats. No outside cats. Guys, if you have a cat who really desperately wants to go outside, put a harness on it, put a leash on it, never leave it outside unsupervised, or get it a little, like, enclosure that you can put it outside temporarily and then bring it back inside. Like, cats should never be outside unattended. They are ecological disasters. But what if they promise not to devastate the local ecosystem? I know. They're like, pretty please, I promise I won't kill all the birds in the vicinity. Jack Russell Terriers are the third smartest dog by word count. They're good rat dogs. Yeah. Steve Irwin needed a riot shield to encounter cassowaries. Ooh. Terrifying. And listen, if you have chickens, if you free range your chickens for a period of time during the day, like if you let them free range for a little while and then you bring them back in, they will kill mice. They will kill rats too, depending on how big they are. Geese will also kill rats. Like, you can have birds do this job. You do not need to do cats outside. If it made Steve Irwin bring a shield, what the hell? He knew better, you know? Yeah, Cat's like, I promise I won't kill all the birds. Kills all but one bird. Technically, I didn't kill all the birds. Cassowaries, I didn't hear about cassowaries winning a war against Australia. I did hear about the Great Emu Wars, but I didn't know about cassowaries. Yes, my cats in the past have gotten they've gotten supervised balcony time. They really like that. They like to flop down on the patio or whatever and roll around. A puma as a farm cat? Yeah, for sure. I guess it's less worth it for a puma to eat small birds. GoPro the cat so you can monitor its murderous urges. But you're only monitoring it. What do? Do you put a shock collar on it and shock it when you find it stalking a bird? Hello, Anansi. Haven't seen you in a bit. Hope that you're doing well. I have a question. If they can't be outside cats, how am I to know my cat loves me? I mean, hypothetically, it shows it in a number of other ways, right? My cat, okay, so basically every time I enter the room and my cat is awake, he goes, "Murph," and like looks at me and raises his little head. And I'm like, okay, you want my attention? You're saying hello to me? Also, if I sit down on the couch for like basically any period of time, he will get fully on top of me. He's so big. You've seen him. I've shown you. He's huge. He just covered like this entire part of my body. Like I don't. He's so big. In fact, I'm gonna go find him and bother him and bring him because I haven't had a cat on stream in a while. Can we get some mitters in chat? If you have a sub on the website chat, you have custom emoji of the cat. I'm not gonna change the screen or anything. I'll be right back. Okay, so he's like actually asleep right now. I went over and like patted him a little bit and I moved him and like his fat rolled around and he did not wake up. He's not dead. He's breathing, but he did not wake up. So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm going to just let him do his thing for a bit. I'm just going to let him chill." Sorry. False advertising. He's doing his 3 hours a day of actually sleeping. Sorry about that. Yeah, yeah, his fat just like. I know. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect him to be in his deep sleep. He normally wakes up, but early. I was like, ah, ba 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 ba, and he was like, and drool. Yes, that's also true. Another equally important reason that cats only get supervised outside time is that otherwise something could kill them, or they could wander into somewhere dangerous. They could get hit by a car. They could be preyed on. Yeah, like they could just get hurt. Like they could fall out of a tree and get really seriously injured. Outside cats are a bad call, like in every single situation. I'm glad that you're doing okay. Yes, we're preparing. We're preparing for the future. We're not letting this situation cause us to despair. That's not what's happening. Oh man, I thought that I had to burp just then. It just didn't go. Yeah, coyotes, they love to eat neighborhood cats. Foxes also love to eat cats. Cars, they love to hit cats. Cars won't be a thing in a few years thanks to Trump. Wait, what's the logic behind that? I thought that Trump loved cars. Does it turn out that Trump is a train supporting queen? Mmm. Cars love to eat cats. True. I know Nova loves me because she gets on my shoulder and uses me as her mount for hours at a time. The little perfect queen she is. I would love to have a shoulder cat, but it's like it would hurt your neck. You would need to put your neck forward or like lean over, or otherwise they'll like claw your shoulder and fall off. My punchline for everything now is tariffs. I saw someone say earlier, and I don't disagree with this, that like Harris could probably have eked out more votes if she had simply pointed out that tariffs are taxes. Like you want the working class to pay more taxes because of like you want to penalize other countries or whatever. I don't know. I don't really understand how tariffs work, if I'm going to be completely honest. I did at some point and then I forgot. Fucking cassowaries. Yes, cats like warm places like car engines. It's true. Nova has mastered the human writing skill tree. She has perfect balance even when I move. Cute. Tariffs are taxes paid by American countries on companies on imported goods. I guess the idea is that it's to encourage American companies to produce goods in America or to buy goods that were made in America. Man, water is so good for you, y'all. By the way, on donations, we're about halfway to the second donation goal, which is that I will reveal what is in this box. We already did a one box reveal. The first box reveal was this cute little mug that I use for my shot glass. It's a cute little handmade mug. I got at Ye Old Renaissance Festival. Look at how adorable it is. I feel like it's hard to encapsulate how tiny and cute this is because my hands are also tiny and cute. Anyway, the second box. Second secret box. What's in it? I don't know. I forgot what I put in it because I did it last week. If something is tariffed 200%, individuals will buy it already imported from a different country like UK. Great for global warming. True. Goodness gracious, y'all. Ugh. My hair is cute, at least. If nothing else, my hair is cute. Used properly, that's what a tariff would do. However, Trump is thinking of using tariffs on all imported goods as a means of raising revenue instead of income taxes. This will raise prices on everyday shit because imported stuff is higher cost and domestic stuff is allowed to raise prices while staying competitive. Yeah, basically, the idea of tariffs on everything means that our local, our basically everybody who has to buy stuff. Every time Harris talked about his oh my god, I can't fucking talk. We're getting to that point in the stream. Every time Harris talked about his tariff, she called it a sales tax. Okay, I guess the person that I saw talking about it hadn't seen that. That's just me being like, that's what I read someone saying. Raising tariffs is what led to the Great Depression. Yes, I told you the economy's gonna collapse in 15 years. Accelerationism. In theory, the idea is that by making foreign goods more expensive, the public will buy locally made things, but the not fun parts are A, how many things just plain aren't made locally, and B, the countries will tariff you back, and you're in a trade war. Yes, trade wars. Let's go. Fucking, what is the second movie called of the prequels? Trade Wars. Star Wars prequels. Let's go. 15 years? How optimistic? Well, that's based on the projections that were made 50 years ago that we are currently on track for, to be clear. It could get worse faster, but basically in 2040, the economy will stop growing and then collapse shortly thereafter, probably. Yeah, Reed, I completely understand that feeling of isolation. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you can join a hobby group or something locally, just being able to like have people to talk to face, even if you don't discuss what's happening right now. Like, go to the library, see if there are any events at your local library where you could meet people. Yeah, it might have been Attack of the Clones. I haven't actually seen the prequels in a very long time. Technically, tariffs deepened the depression, not started it. The start was tied to, I genuinely can't remember. I just remember the tariffs came in 1931. Star Wars is cool. I haven't watched Star Wars in such a long time that I don't even necessarily have an opinion on how good the old movies are. I've seen the most recent ones. Like, I love The Last Jedi. I think it's a great movie. And I went to scream at the third one, Rise of Skywalker. I want to scream at that one, but I haven't seen the old ones in a long time. So maybe I should revisit those. Maybe I'll come up with a video essay idea while I'm watching one of them. I don't know. Speaking of cat troubles, there are tigers in Alaska right now. Why? For being against post-birth abortions, these guys' tariffs and the resulting trade wars will probably kneecap the slowly rebuilding American manufacturing sector. Yay! Excuse me, Rogue One was a hidden gem. I forgot that movie immediately after watching it. I'm sure that I've seen it, and I don't remember it. Yeah, I basically don't remember that one. 6.5 out of 10 on the Star Wars movies. Yeah. Listen, it changed the kind of stories that you can tell in film, right? And I appreciate it for that reason. Not sure we can be friends anymore, Lux. Yeah, sorry. Ugh. Yeah, let's stop being selfish and spare a thought for Melania, who has to pretend to like Trump for another 4 years. I know, so sad. I've heard good things about Andor. Gayfesh keeps telling me I need to watch Andor. Apparently Andor has a great political message, too. I'm so resistant to watching new things, but now that I'm entering this new phase of doing video essay content, I'm gonna have to do that more. I'm gonna have to talk more about those things. No joke, I will do an Andor season of my podcast. No! It's gonna force me to watch Andor. I mean, we're forcing Demon Mama to watch Marvel movies, and she hates them. So I think it's even if I have to watch Star Wars. But yes, let me know when I can start advertising the podcast. Like, I'm like, hey, the episode's gonna drop soon. Let me know. I recorded a podcast episode with Gayfesh and Demon Mama, so we're gonna start. We're doing movie review podcast, movie discussion review podcast, which I'm very pleased about doing. Mando was awesome. I've heard good things about The Mandalorian. Of course, I love Pedro Pascal. Like, even though I know he's in the helmet and like doesn't talk very much, I just love him so much. Uploading the first schedule right now. Haven't decided on a release schedule yet. Might want to wait until we have another one recorded before I drop the first one. I think that's reasonable. If we had like 2 or 3 banked and then started posting, because like how often are we going to record episodes, and like how long is it going to take to get through, like what amount of time it makes sense to watch a movie in, and then form an opinion and then record an episode and then have to edit and upload. Pedro actually doesn't even show up on set anymore. It's his body double. No, he only does voice work for that show. I hope it's because he has amazing other projects that he's working on. Rare occasions when he takes his helmet off. Well, at least they're having him actually come on set for that instead of just doing deep fakes or something. Marvel has become corporate schlock lately, in my opinion. When was it not corporate schlock? When was it not fucking military propaganda? I know, figuring out dinner is such a bummer. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner tonight. I don't typically cook on stream nights, but I'm ending stream earlier than usual. Actually, I'm going to be ending stream right around the time that I would normally start cooking dinner, but I'm fucking not cooking dinner tonight. Are you serious? Loved Mando season 1 and 2. 3 was all over the place. That happens pretty frequently. Oh, God. I'm very sleepy. Okay. What if Trump transitions? Well, she's not my friend. What if he wants to transition and be the only T girl? I mean, Caitlyn Jenner's probably going to have something to say about that. Marvel movies remind me of how Guitar Hero found a winning formula and niche and then proceeded to oversaturate its own market. Yeah. I really love phase 1 of Marvel movies because each one feels very unique and like they have different flavors. I like that. You know, I appreciate that it is you know, some of the older movies have kind of like a horror feel to them. It's pretty cool. All the tortellini is gone, so I'm gonna go curl up under the bed. Ooh, I hope you have an amazing carb nap. Curl up under the bed? Under the blankets? You're just gonna go under the bed? I've decided I'm gonna go hide under the bed like a monster. Hello, Raven. Welcome. But yes, first episode of the podcast is about Captain America, the First Avenger. And then next we're doing the Avengers, I think. I think what we decided to do was to do the like movies about like this one character and kind of follow their arc. I think was kind of the plan. So then we'll do like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 or whatever. Under the bed with the dust bunnies. Oh, okay. Enjoy. I hope you have a nice floor nap. Yeah, Iron Man 2 was not great. Thor 2 was whatever. Most of the pre-Endgame movies have at least something interesting about them. See, I stopped watching Marvel movies basically after Endgame. So, except that I've seen, there was a Spider-Man that came out after, I saw that. And then I saw Doctor Strange 2, and Doctor Strange 2 was a pretty good movie. I really enjoyed how it really felt like a comic book movie in ways that some of the other Marvel movies don't. And yeah, I thought it was good. I think that the body doubles for Mandalorian should get main cast billing alongside Pedro. I don't like the idea that physical performance without the face doesn't count as acting, you know? Truly, yeah. It's not like a stunt double where the only thing they're doing is like an action thing. You know, if you're acting and you're doing body language, it's like, oh, does Tom Holland not get a full acting credit because so much of the movie is him just like covered, his face is covered? First Avenger was pretty good. Winter Soldier was peak. I have a tendency to forget Winter Soldier, but I probably just need to rewatch it a couple more times. Oh my goodness. People were here for the political takes. They don't care about the media conversation, apparently. I mean, there's still 50 people here. We have 159 likes, which is incredible. Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody who's been here hanging out with us. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the donations. It's very generous of you to spend your time with me today. Hopefully everybody's feeling okay. We will get to Winter Soldier soon enough. It is peak. Okay. I did see it not too long ago. But I don't really retain a lot of information about it. Ooh, pork tacos. Yummy. That sounds good. I've recently been using my slow cooker more. And so like pork, you could make pork taco filling like basically the equivalent of like pulled pork, but taco, and then put it in a tortilla, and it would be yummy. Later, Pretty Nosferatu, yes. Good to hang out with DD. I will do that whenever I am invited to do so. Birria tacos are my weakness. I don't think I've ever had birria. If we get into talking too much about food, I'm gonna have to log off imminently because I am a hungry boy. I'm one of the bigger Marvel defenders, and I honestly couldn't care about Winter Soldier. IDKY. I just, yeah, not all of them like stick out. Everybody's got personal tastes. Not everything hits just right. If you're just coming in, by the way, we did like 2 solid hours of election coverage at the beginning of this stream, and so now that's why we're meandering onto other topics. Actually, no, I think I did have birria. I go to this like barbecue every summer, and I think that this year one of the guys made birria. Like he brought his flat top cook thing, his cook surface, and like made birria, which of course I can't remember anything specific about it, but it was delicious from what I recall. Oh yeah, it's I guess worth mentioning like honorable mention for today's stream when talking about all this election stuff that the first openly transgender person in history has been elected to US Congress. I believe that she is in the House of Representatives. That would be my guess. But her name is Sarah McBride. First openly trans person. Fucking about time we get one human person in the federal electoral whatever who's trans. I know that there have been trans cabinet members, but it's not the same. Apparently she supports Israel, but we're hoping that she will be subject to pressure on that. Brianna, is that you? I have a question. What will our protest look like? I'm not a big protest person personally. I'm assuming that there will be protests, but like, peaceful protest doesn't change anything, okay? If we're being completely honest, we had peaceful protests at college campuses. We had peaceful protests for George Floyd. In fact, I mean, in all of these situations, the people peacefully protest, and then the police do police riots on us. A police riot is when the police enact violence against peaceful protesters. Like, basically all of the violence in every single one of these situations is caused by police, except with the pro-Palestine protests on college campuses. Sometimes the violence was being started by pro-Zion, like pro-Zionists attacking the Palestine protesters, like the pro-Palestine protesters. So, and the cops would just stand there and let it happen. So peaceful protests, like, this is not going to accomplish anything, so I don't really talk about it that much. You know? I'm more on the side of like pressure your local politicians, volunteer for local campaigns, volunteer at the homeless shelter, grow your own food, learn skills to help your community. Like, Peaceful protest doesn't accomplish anything. Hello, Mal. First time tuning in live. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for chilling with us while you cook. The college protests are a good example of an effective action. Their goal was for the universities to divest from Israel, and many of them did. I wasn't seeing that. Maybe that's just because of what like my particular internet is like, but mostly I was seeing the universities like expel international students, thereby having them deported from the country and refusing to let people graduate and shutting down campus and stuff like that. Like I guess some of the universities divested from Israel, but many of them meted out very intense consequences. Would joining a DSA chapter do something? Yeah, I think that there was at least one DSA candidate who won office somewhere. So yeah, joining a DSA at the very minimum can give you the idea of like what are some local things that you could get involved with. So I would say yeah, I've considered that myself before. Mostly the main reason I didn't do it was because I think that if I joined a local DSA, then that means that people would know more specifically where I live, which I have not wanted to have happen. Like, oh no, what if I meet someone in the DSA who knows who I am because they're in the same political spaces online as me? Yes, joining a chapter is also just good for healthy networking. It's just good to be involved in your local community. It's good to meet people, and whatever the medium is that you're doing that through, whether it's a cross-stitch group or a DSA chapter, like whatever it is that you've decided to focus on, it's all good. Meet people in person, support people in person. Create relationships, especially if you're trans, create relationships where people care about you and they care about what happens to you. Maybe you'll meet some normies and you get to show them that trans people are just normal people who want to do cross-stitch. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we really should cover today. Ha, 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 ha. We love this. Apparently, after a year of hearing the risk to the public is low regarding bird flu, the CDC is now warning the public about H5N1 bird flu symptoms. H5N1 bird flu symptoms may include fever or feeling feverish or chills, eye redness or irritation, and respiratory symptoms such as cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headaches, and tiredness. So I don't know if this is them kind of covertly saying, yeah, we think that human-to-human transmission has started. I'm pretty sure that human-to-human transmission has started already, but they're just not willing to say it. I mean, maybe they'll be willing to say it now that the fucking election is over. But that was kind of my assumption, was that they weren't going to talk about it if there was, like, still the election going on. So yet another reason for you to mask, not catching a deadly bird flu. The U.S. reported the very first human case in 2022. And she says, for most of 2023, we heard it's not an immediate threat to humans. They said it's a very dangerous time to be a bird. We are still hearing the risk to the general public remains low 3 weeks ago. But meanwhile, California has 11 cases of human infection. Like, a lot of these are direct exposure from farm workers, but we have had some, and in Missouri in particular, where we don't know where the person got infected from. And several nurses who interacted with that person also had symptoms. So it's like, is this person giving it to the nurses? Apparently, they just fucking decided not to do tests on those people while they were sick. Like, if you don't test, then it's not happening. Mal says DSA soup kitchens, food not bombs. Literally any IRL leftist organizing is worth giving a shot. Yes. Also, you can create local events or look for local events for queer/trans people. I made a queer fighting game community that has definitely been doing lifting for a few people today. Not political, but still helping. There you go. Any community organizing that you can do. Yeah, gonna love having like 3 pandemics going on simultaneously under Trump's CDC. Wear a mask, wear a respirator, wear an N95. I'm gonna keep saying it until I die. With my last breath, I'm gonna say, wear an N95. And then I'll die. That's how it's gonna happen. This random person says it's time for everyone to become a lot gayer and a lot meaner. Fucking true. Remain soft for your fellow disenfranchised people, though. Momentarily, do we have any last minute donations if you want to find out what's in the box and watch me smash my hand inside this chest? We opened the one box. This was the first surprise. Do you want to see the second surprise? Imagine getting another pandemic within Trump's first year. I mean, listen, literally, bird flu. What's in the box? Yeah. What is in it? In fact, I'll lower the amount. If we get to $200 instead of $300, I will open the box. Look at that. Any last minute donos, last minute likes, last minute suggestions for conversations? Anything we need to cover before I log off? I wish I had money to find out what's in the box. I know, so sad. If you're cisgender, why are you not giving me your money? Give me your money, sissies. I'm kidding, but not really. I mean, give me your money, but I'm not trying to call you a sissy as a means of like degrading you. Takis tomorrow. Yes. Oh my God. I kind of forgot that I'm doing that. I have Takis tomorrow. I haven't been on Takis. I'm actually going to be on Takis like the next 3 consecutive weeks, I think. Maybe even every week in November. I'm not sure. They really packed me in there this month. So yeah, we get to do our post-election conversations tomorrow. I'm hoping we get like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, do I want to talk about transphobes right now? Kind of. I wonder if Matthew's going to call in again. I have some choice words for Matthew that I've been saving up for several weeks now. Tech is tomorrow. Tech is tomorrow. Yawn. Trump dismantled Obama's pandemic response team. Biden rebuilt it and declared mission accomplished on COVID, and Trump is going to dismantle it again. Yeah, again, we've abandoned the concept of public health. Like, we're just not doing public health anymore. Again, I'm scrolling to see if there's anything noteworthy to talk about today remaining on social medias. But we're winding down. Oh, this is cool. Under Tim Walz's leadership, Minnesota became the first state to dedicate funding to long COVID and associated conditions, including ME/CFS and POTS. Hey. Tim Walz leading the way on long COVID funding. We love to see that. Mask disabling event. Would love to see him wearing a mask occasionally. That might make that a little bit more meaningful, but hey, at least we're getting something. Yeah, Tim Walz is decent. There's good people in Minnesota. Minnesota's a decent place. If you're like, I'm trying to move somewhere, listen, y'all who are like, oh, I would love to move somewhere, but I can't. Minnesota is like right in the middle. So if you live in like Kansas or Missouri, if you're like, it's too much of a move to move to the West Coast, move to Minnesota. It's culturally the same. It's like relatively inexpensive. It's a decent place. Love the cold too. Yeah, if you love extreme winters and extreme summers, then Minnesota's a great place. Yes. Have a good time making dinner, kitty. Yes, worry less and do more. That's a great catchphrase, kitty. Worry less and do more. Man, Florida changed the rules to where any ballot referendums require a 60% vote to win. So legalizing weed got a 50% vote but lost because you require 60%. I like that Tim Walz is a national public figure now. Yeah, shit. Maybe run him next time. Right? I like him a lot. This person on Twitter says, hey, if you're feeling bad, remember that we have enough climate left for one more election cycle if we're quick. If anyone has room if driving, maybe see if anyone else needs to escape. Yeah. If you're going to drive across the country, maybe see if anybody wants to come with you. All right, guys, we're getting close to that 4-hour mark because we started at 2:30 today. I typically get real tired around this time, and I feel like I don't have a lot else to say. So let me recap. Okay, let's recap before we stop, because maybe some of you weren't here at the beginning of the stream. There are many reasons why Kamala lost, and we could go on for fucking hours and days and weeks talking about the campaign strategies, what went wrong, was it misogyny, was it because she failed to appeal to progressive voters, is it because of Joe Biden, like lots of reasons, okay? What we're not going to do is give in to despair just because Trump won this election. Nothing is lost today in terms of like, you still have all of your rights today. Well, all of them that you have in your state, whatever. If you live in Kansas like me, then you have lost some of your rights already, which is why we know that Democratic presidents are not going to save us anyway, right? Democratic presidents are not going to save us. Even if Kamala had won, we would still have been facing down the barrel of climate change and economic collapse in the next 20 years. So we're going to make our plans appropriately, whether it's that you're going to move or whether it's that you're going to shore up resources in the communities that you already have in the red states or the swing states that you live in, or if you live in blue states, like shoring up the community. You're going to learn skills that you need to learn, like first aid, stop the bleed. If you need to learn self-defense, you're going to learn self-defense. You're going to reach out to people in your community. You're going to stop infighting about dumb shit. We're going to set aside some of our superficial differences. We can try to do outreach to our Republican family members. I know a lot of us have given up on that, but, they're people too, and they're going to suffer as much as we will under climate change. We're going to learn how to grow food. We're going to raise animals. We're going to learn essential skills like that, like how to can food. We're going to learn all of these things, okay? We're going to love each other. We're going to care for each other. We're going to keep things moving. If you need to take a few days to mourn what you thought this country could have been, you can do that. But then we need to keep things moving, okay? Don't wallow. If you find yourself getting stuck in a sinkhole, get your body moving. Go for a walk. Do a little dance. Put on some music. Do some dishes. Get your body involved. Get out of your head. Go outside. All right? So take a few days if you need to. Buy yourself a little treat. Get a stress pizza. This morning, I drank hot chocolate. I never drink hot chocolate. And I was like, I'm going to do hot chocolate, and I'm going to put whipped cream on it, and I'm going to sprinkle some cocoa powder on top of that to make it all fucking cute. That was my self-care moment, okay? If you need to buy yourself a little treat, if you need to go on a little 2 or 3 day vacation or something, regroup. Get your shit together. We have more to do. And in particular, we have a responsibility to one another. We have a responsibility to our fellow trans people. We have a responsibility to the gay kids that haven't been born yet. We're going to make it. All right? So don't despair. Don't give in. And let's keep this moving, okay? One last good thing, my staunch conservative mother posted about how she's an independent today. Low-key letting me know she didn't help make this happen. Things can get better, guys. Yeah, things can get better. We're going to keep it going, all right? Much love to all of you. I'm sending you positive vibes. I'm hoping that you feel better by the end of the week. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Look for the helpers, all right? Be good out there. Or at least don't get caught, all right? I will see you on Sunday. Or tomorrow on Takis if you want to see me at 2 p.m. Central Time on Transatlantic Calling.